Your radar's clear. You've got a low of 56 tonight. Tom Harrison Silcox. Here's what's trending at 3:02. Nearly a third of Indiana is dealing with a drought.
I'm Ryan Hedrick. The rain that's fallen Tuesday and Wednesday has helped, but that will be it for a little bit.
Thursday to Friday of next week would be the next weather system that approaches the area. And at this point, it doesn't look like it's going to be a widespread heavy rain.
National Weather Service forecaster Randy Bowers says drought conditions remain moderate for much of the state. Ryan Hedrick, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
Mike Pence says the current White House has made U.S. energy dependent on other countries, contrary to what he claims he and former President Trump achieved.
We achieved energy independence. We became a net exporter of energy for the first time in 75 years.
At the second GOP primary debate Wednesday, Pence said he would open up federal lands for drilling. On the subject of transgender kids in the U.S., he proposed an all-out ban on transgender surgeries and hormone therapy for kids. You may often hear the phrase, if you see something, say something, but maybe you're afraid to do so. John Herrick reports on how the Greenfield Police Department's encouraging people to speak up.
And speaking up may not be as easy as you think.
There's that fear of if I even act like I'm going to say something, I have that fear of retribution.
Greenfield Deputy Police Chief Chuck McMichael says they have a new app called the Greenfield PD app, which allows anyone to report a crime to them and never reveal their identity. If you don't want to use the app, then you can go online to the Greenfield Police Department's website. John Herrick, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
Indianapolis Colts kicker Matt Gay became the first kicker in NFL history to knock through 4 field goals of 50 yards or more in a game. So the NFL named him the AFC Special Teams Player of the Week.
You get 1.25 seconds to get that operation done and gone, and so I think it's something that takes a lot of effort and takes a lot of, I don't want to say perfection, but it takes a lot of precision to be able to get those things right.
Gay talking to the media yesterday. This week he plays his former team, the Los Angeles Rams. You're 1 minute away from traffic and weather. It's 3:04.
Joe Hogsett's been a politician for 34 years, and that's a lot of photo ops. But when riots broke out downtown, when police needed a mayor, there's no photo of Joe Hogsett. He was nowhere to be found. Since then, violent crimes off the chart. Police leaving the force. We're now 300 cops short. As a result, 2 out of 3 homicides now go unsolved. India's in crisis, and we need a mayor, not photo op Joe.
Not too long ago, Indy hosted a Super Bowl. We welcomed the world. We had a belief in our city back then that Indy could be magnetic, dynamic. Now, crime makes us feel unwelcome in our own neighborhoods. Joe Hogsett tried to do something about it. It's gotten steadily worse. Jefferson Shreve isn't running on a promise to try. He's running on a plan. Learn more about Shreve's plan at shreveformayor.com.
Paid for by Shreve for Mayor.
The traffic on the 5s at 3:05. Here's Matt Baer.
All right, Harrison, couple of crashes on the west side. 110th at High School Road, another 38th at Muller. At eastbound 70, still a stop and go as you approach Mount Comfort Road. And then we stop on the westbound side right now for a couple of miles between State Road 9 and Mount Comfort Road. So I-70 is a mess in that area because it does. Traffic sponsored by Isaacs and Isaacs. Dog bite injury. Call Isaacs and Isaacs. The law firm Indiana's trusted for over 20 years. They'll fight to get you every dollar you deserve. Click and get help quick at WeWin.com. That's WeWin.com. I'm Matt Baer. Follow us for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
And the forecast from the American Standard Cooling Weather Center.
Showers and storms still possible in the forecast early on tonight. Low temperatures in the low 60s. Tomorrow, a mostly cloudy day. A couple sprinkles, highs in the mid-70s. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Ryan Morse for 93 WIBC.
And I'm Harrison Silcox on The Level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Hammer and Nigel.
Can you believe these characters are weirdos?
So let's rock it!
And Donald Trump should be here to answer for that, but he's not. And I want to look at that camera right now and tell you, Donald, I know you're watching. You can't help yourself. I know you're watching, okay? And you're not here tonight, not because of polls and not because of your indictments. You're not here tonight because you're afraid of being on the stage and defending your record. You're ducking these things. And let me tell you what's going to happen. You keep doing that, no one up here is going to call you Donald Trump anymore. We're going to call you Donald Duck.
Hey-o!
Whack, whack, whack.
That is former Governor of New Jersey, Chris Christie, on the debate stage last night with a very lame dig at Donald Duck Trump. You gotta wonder if there's just, they were sitting around in some sort of conference room and somebody wrote that for him, right? Or at least maybe he came up with it and workshopped it to his people, his campaign managers. And they were like, yeah, use that one. Yeah, that's really funny. That's really good. Here's the thing about Chris Christie. That debate last night was a bleep show. It was awful. But Chris Christie's a good debater. Say what you want about the guy. He's got chops from his time as governor of New Jersey, debating the teachers' unions and things like that. I don't know what that was last night.
No, and Mike Pence tried to do the same thing. Like Mike Pence, his first statement was some joke that fell flat. And then later on, he made some sort of joke about sleeping with a teacher. And who sat around in that room? Who sat around and prepped Mike Pence and said, tonight, the world's going to meet wacky Mike Pence. They're going to see a whole new side of your white-haired ass. It's going to be wacky Mike Pence tonight. Like, who are these god-awful political consultants that told him that was a good idea and told Chris Christie that duck joke was going to fly? I put this on our Twitter last night, Nigel, and I agree 100% with this. I will stand by this. I will shout it from a mountain. Last night's debate was like a preseason NFL game.
Okay.
The biggest star didn't play, and after about 15, 20 minutes, you're looking at your watch going, how much more of this crap do I have to put up with?
Yeah, I was late to the party last night. I did watch a lot of it. I watched a lot of Trump. Surprisingly, I didn't get to finish the Bill O'Reilly Tucker interview. But it was just at one point, my wife has been out of town all week. I just turned it off and went to bed.
So you were the real winner of the debate last night.
I was the winner.
Because you turned it off. Like, it was bad to begin with, but then it got progressively worse. Like, the whole second half of that debate was worse than the first half.
I feel like they were all talking all over each other at all times, the moderators and the people up on stage.
Right, and it wasn't just the candidates. I mean, it was a bad production. The lighting was bad. The audio was bad. The whole thing was a train wreck. And again, the second half of that debate, worse than the first half. RNC Chair Ronna McDaniel, your thoughts?
We couldn't do diddly poo. We sucked. The second half, we sucked. We got our ass totally kicked in the second half. It was a horse performance in the second half. Horse. I'm totally embarrassed and totally ashamed. It sucked. It stunk.
As well you should be, Ronna.
Ronna McDaniel, RNC Chair. Outrageously biased questions coming from one of the moderators. Like most of the night, I thought Dana Perino was okay. She had a big flub at the end, and we'll talk about that in just a moment. But the other two folks, the man that I've dubbed Jim Varney and this reporter from Univision, they were stiffs, and they lost all control. Only Dana was able to basically tell everybody, hey, knock off the nonsense. We're trying to get some things talked out here. But this Univision chick, she was awful. Listen to this bullcrap question that she asked to Florida's Governor Ron DeSantis.
Florida's new Black History curriculum says, quote, slaves develop skills which in some instances could be applied for their personal benefit. You have said slaves develop skills in spite of slavery, not because of it. But many are still hurt. For descendants of slaves, this is personal. What is your message to them?
That's such a BS loaded question.
Right. And it's a hoax of a question.
Yeah, it's not real.
It had been debunked previously.
African-American scholars have said as much.
Kamala Harris and AOC were the ones putting out all this nonsense.
Yeah.
And it's been fact-checked and proved to be debunked. But this chick from Univision, Ilya Calderon, asked that to Ron DeSantis. I mean, what a ridiculous question. Vince Lombardi, your thoughts?
What the hell's going on out here?
I love we've heard from Jim Mora and Vince Lombardi already into this segment. This was how DeSantis ultimately answered that question, though.
So first of all, that's a hoax that was perpetrated by Kamala Harris. We are not going to be doing that. Second of all, that was written by descendants of slaves. These are great Black history scholars, so we need to stop playing these games. Here's the deal. Our country's education system is in decline because it's focused on indoctrination, denying parents' rights. Florida represents the revival of American education. We're ranked #1 in the nation in education by U.S. News and World Report. My wife and I, we have a 6, 5, and 3-year-old. This is personal to us. We didn't just talk about universal school choice, we enacted universal school choice. We didn't just talk about Parents' Bill of Rights, we enacted the Parents' Bill of Rights. We eliminated critical race theory, and we now have American civics and the Constitution in our schools in a really big way, just like President Reagan asked for in his farewell address back in 1989. Florida is showing how it's done. We're standing with parents, and our kids are benefiting.
And a rare moment of clarity last night where you could understand what someone was trying to say. Ron DeSantis squashes that ridiculous notion that the moderator asked and then went on to give his answer.
I think DeSantis was the winner last night. I don't even know why they needed that Univision woman there. Half the time I really was having trouble understanding the words that were coming out of her mouth in the first place. She had no reason to be there. And quote unquote Jim Varney, pretty much the same thing. Should have just been Perino.
Right. If you missed it last night, consider yourself blessed. Nigel, you said the winner was DeSantis. I would say Donald Trump was the winner last night.
Yeah, okay.
Because he wasn't a part of this. He was speaking to the auto workers in Michigan. But if you missed a little bit of it, or maybe you haven't heard the highlights throughout the day, here's a little spirited back and forth. So Nikki Haley called out Vivek Ramaswamy's love of TikTok, because Ramaswamy was talking about China sucks and China's awful and we hate China, rabble. But he loves TikTok. He's on TikTok. He does videos all the time. Chinese-owned TikTok. And Nikki Haley had had enough of it.
There's one person on this.
This is infuriating because TikTok is one of the most dangerous social media apps that we could have. And what you've got, I honestly, every time I hear you, I feel a little bit dumber for what you say. Because I can't believe that here you've got a TikTok situation. What they're doing is these 150 million people are on TikTok. That means they can get your contacts, they can get your financial information, they can get your emails, they can get text messages, they can get all of these things.
This is very important for our party.
Exactly what they're doing.
This is very important for our party, and I'm going to say
you've gone and you've helped China make medicines in China, not America. You're now wanting kids to go and get on the social media that's dangerous for all of us. You went and you were in business with the Chinese that gave Hunter Biden $5 million. We can't trust you.
Why do I care about Vivek on TikTok? I mean, she was going through a whole list and litany of reasons as to why, but that's the biggest issue in this country right now. Is Vivek's use of TikTok? Really?
She was basically calling him a hypocrite.
I understand that, but okay, whatever. Fine, he's on TikTok.
And that right there, that sentiment you just had sums up everybody's thoughts on that debate. All right, fine, whatever. Because ultimately, it was a bunch of people on a stage, 7 people, and we know unless something happens to Donald Trump where he can't run, they're not going to catch and they're not going to beat Donald Trump. So this was the JV game last night while Trump was in Michigan campaigning, trying to win over some folks that might be a little disenchanted with the Democratic Party, union workers who normally vote blue. This blank show was happening. And it was a disaster, from the moderators to the panelists to the production element of it. The whole thing stunk. We mentioned Vivek Ramaswamy. He had a moment that a lot of people, I guess, shared on social media where he talked about the discussion of transgender children.
Transgenderism, especially in kids, is a mental health disorder. We have to acknowledge the truth of that for what it is. I met 2 young women early in this campaign.
Specifically on parental rights in school.
Parents have the right to know. And you know what the hypocrisy of this is? Even New Hampshire failed to actually get past a piece of legislation here. The very people who say that this increases the risk of suicide are also the ones saying that parents don't have the right to know about that increased risk of suicide. And I'm sorry, it is not compassionate to affirm a kid's confusion. That is not compassion, that is cruelty.
So this kind of thing went on all through the night, but as we mentioned earlier, The ending was so bizarre. Like, the ending was the chef's kiss on this turd sandwich of a debate, because not all of the candidates got a chance for a final statement. Only a couple did, because Dana Perino tried to do this ridiculous Survivor, who would you vote off the island bit.
Which one of you on stage tonight should be voted off the island? Please use your marker to write your choice on the notepad in front of you. 15 seconds starting now. Of the people on the stage, who should be? I'm absolutely serious.
With all due respect, I mean, we're here, we're happy to debate, but I think that's disrespectful to my fellow competitors.
Nobody wants to participate.
Basically, I'm so glad DeSantis said that. I'm so glad he did. Basically saying this is not a circus, all right? We're not up here for your quote-unquote entertainment. This is a very serious thing that's happening. We're not playing Survivor.
And Dana Perino's better than that. Dana's smarter than that, and she had a pretty good night. All things considered, she was the only one trying to keep control up there, but she kind of blew it all at the very end. All right, Matt Bear, what's going on?
All right, Hammer, looking at westbound 70 stop traffic a couple of miles after State Road 9 to County Road 200 west. Again, that's a full stop right now, westbound 70 between 9 and Mount Comfort Road, where traffic likes to stop. Eastbound 70 also stop and go from Mount Comfort Road for a couple of miles because of an earlier crash. Traffic sponsored by Family Dollar. Get ready to fall into savings this week at Family Dollar. Stay ahead of the mess and save on cleaning products and more when you clip your smart coupons. Family Dollar helping you do more. I'm Matt Bear. Follow us for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
I mean, the audio was atrocious. Like, just keep everybody potted up the whole time. Don't try to control everybody's microphones. Let us hear the fighting. It's what we tuned in for. And then the lighting. What the hell was that? Like, they made Mike Pence look even more white than he normally is. Like, no one's going to confuse Mike Tyson for Chris Rock anytime soon, but Mike Pence looked so white, like he looked like a ghost almost. Right now, we've got partly cloudy skies, 71 at the American Standard Cooling Weather Center. This is the Hammer and Nigel Show.
Joe Wrights, former Colts offensive lineman.
And I'm Jill Wrights. Traumatic brain injury is so sad and so life-changing.
That's why we support a groundbreaking organization building a better future for adults living with a TBI.
Vilici was founded right here in Indiana, but what we are doing will affect families around the country, families struggling to support and lift up their loved one after a life-changing head injury.
Go to braininjury.me, that's braininjury.me.
Michaelis presents Password. The word is basement.
Wet.
Rain.
Leaky.
Faucet.
Stinky.
Socks.
Moldy.
Underwear.
No, it's basement. Really moldy underwear.
Well, sometimes.
Ew.
Basement waterproofing and French drains. Life happens. Michaelis happens to help you through it.
Make it Michaelis.
Come on, take your basement back. 844-FIX-INDY.
Mecum Auctions, the world's largest collector car auction company, returns to Indy for the fall special, October 5th to the 7th at the Indiana State Fairgrounds, featuring 1,000 muscle cars, Corvettes, customs, and more. Broadcast live on Motor Trend TV and Motor Trend Plus. From avid collectors to those new to the Mecum experience, we welcome everyone. Register to bid now at mecum.com.
Do you have heart failure and often hear,
"Those stomach issues ruined your birthday"?
"You're too tired to play catch, Grandpa."
Sweetie, you haven't touched your tools since the carpal tunnel syndrome diagnosis.
If these seemingly unrelated symptoms sound familiar, talk to your cardiologist. Ask about transthyretin amyloid cardiomyopathy, or ATTR-CM, a rare and underdiagnosed disease that gets worse over time. Learn more at connecttoyourheart.com. That's connecttoyourheart.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
I'm attorney Darryl Isaacs, the Hammer. If you've been injured by a big truck, our team at Isaacs & Isaacs will fight to get you every dollar you deserve for your medical bills, lost wages, and pain and suffering. Just click and get help quick. Go to WeWin.com. That's WeWin.com.
This hour on 93 WIBC, powered by Family Heating and Air, your American Standard air dealer in Indianapolis.
You're listening to the Hammer and Nigel Show.
Okay, so the debate's Sucked last night, GOP primary debates, the second one. I think the big winner of the night was Donald Trump. And like I said, I guess, in terms of content, it was Trump, it was the Tucker, Bill O'Reilly interview, and way, way, way down the line was the debates. Now, today, it's a different story. Today were the opening statements in the Biden impeachment inquiry, right?
Now, are you ready to be electrified? Are you ready to have electricity running through your veins? Are you ready to get so fired up you could run through a brick wall? Because if you are, here's Kevin McCarthy.
While Joe Biden was running for president and had told, and his attorney told too, that they received no money from China, we now know that, yes, it came from Beijing, from Jonathan Lee, and the address on the wire is President Biden's address. And then you find out, how did he meet this Jonathan Lee? Well, he took Hunter Biden on Air Force Two when he went to China, and then Hunter had him meet the vice president then. The vice president became such a liking that he wrote letters of recommendations for his children too. So it's interesting to me, why would the president say he's never had any dealings with Hunter's business when Hunter said he was selling the brand? And
okay, I'm going to sleep. You can go ahead and stop.
Okay, I'll take back what I said. The debates were better.
I mean, this is like a big day, and it sounds like McCarthy's doing a hostage video. Like maybe he doesn't want this to happen, because that was the chatter from a lot of folks, that McCarthy is such a swamp monster. He feels bad that this is happening. But my God, did you hear that? I mean, people are more excited when they're delivering a eulogy when they go to a funeral. Here is Jim Jordan.
This is a tale as old as time. Politician takes action that makes money for his family, and then he tries to conceal it. Never forget 4 fundamental facts. Hunter Biden gets put on the board of Burisma, gets paid a lot of money. Hunter Biden's not qualified, fact number 2, to sit on the board. Not my words, his words. He said he got on the board because of the brand, because of the name. Fact number 3, the executives at Burisma asked Hunter Biden to weigh in and help them with the pressure they are under from the prosecutor in Ukraine. Fact number 4, Joe Biden goes to Ukraine on December 9th, 2015, gives the speech attacking the prosecutor that starts the process of getting that guy fired. Those facts, by the way, are consistent with what the confidential human source told the FBI, and the FBI recorded in the 1023 form, the same form that the Justice Department didn't want to let this committee see. And all those facts, all of that was further confirmed yesterday with the information that the Ways and Means Committee released from the whistleblowers Shapley and Ziegler.
That's what needs to happen right there. The basic nuts and bolts of this inquiry all hinge on what Jim Jordan was saying right there about Hunter Biden on the board of the energy company there in Ukraine and getting the prosecutor in Ukraine fired that was investigating said energy company. That's what people need to know.
All the emails, logs, they're all there. Assuming this isn't a kangaroo court type of situation, which it might be, the information is there. Now, do you have faith that the Republicans can do their job and present all the evidence in a way that is overwhelming? Or are they going to trip on their own crank and let the Democrats get away with it? Where's your money going? Earlier today, Nancy Mace, in your face, Nancy Mace, she was fired up.
I don't want to hear another word from the left or anyone across the other side of the aisle about impeachment inquiry. This is complete and total hypocrisy this morning. Today, we're going to bring the facts. Today, we are going to bring the evidence. In 2017, the Joe Biden family teamed up with Chinese company CEFC to make millions off of granting access to Joe Biden. Hunter even arranged for Joe Biden to share office space with the CCP-aligned company CEFC. My Democrat colleagues say none of this is relevant because Joe Biden wasn't vice president while his family did these shady deals. Turns out that's complete and total bullshit. It's a lie. Hunter Biden referred to access to his father as the keys to his family's only asset. Those words are going to come back and haunt Hunter Biden.
Gotta love a good BS cuss word there at the from the politician from South Carolina there. Nancy
In your
Mace.
face, Nancy Mace. So while that's going on, and that's going to be a big part of the news cycle, at least it should be. We'll see it later tonight. I want you to hear something else. There's also some chatter about what's happening at the border. I want you to listen to this testimony from Senator Katie Britt of Alabama. She's one of the newer members to the U.S. Senate.
She's a star.
She's talking about the horrific things that are occurring at the border as a result of Joe Biden's open border policy. She went down to the border with some of her colleagues, took a look at it firsthand, spoke to people. Take a listen to this.
We walked through and we got to hear women tell us their story. And their stories are brutalizing. And to Senator Cruz's point, if you're not telling it, that's on you. Because when a woman sits there and she tells you not just about being raped, but how many times a day she's raped. When she tells you about having to lay in that bed while they come in and out and in and out, it's disgusting and it's despicable.
That's her message to the media about telling the real story of the lawlessness and the humanitarian crisis that's happening down at the border. Here's a little bit more.
Folks, you look at the number of people that have died at the border because Joe Biden has made it more and more enticing to come here. Make no mistake, this is a result of failed policies. We could fix this. We can't throw money at this and fix it. We have to actually change the policies. I looked in the eyes of CBP agents who said we're exhausted. We're not only having to be paper pushers, we're also trying to do what we did, what we took an oath of office to do, and that is protect this border. But when they tell you about finding small children who have drowned in that river or pulling a lifeless body of a woman who is pregnant with twins, it changes the way you think about what's happening.
Yeah, I mean, she gave the media an absolute dressing down.
She
That's powerful stuff, right?
Is going to be a star. Katie Britt, she's young, she gets fired up, but she doesn't make like a cartoon character of herself. She's decent to look at. She has got star written all over her, and I'm glad that she gave the media that undressing that she gave earlier today. It's the Hammer and Nigel Show.
Electric vehicles are here to stay, and if you're looking for an electric vehicle, Andy Moore Ford is your EV headquarters. More selection. Get to Andy Moore Ford to shop the Mach-E, the E-Transit, the F-150 Lightning in stock, and more arriving daily. Save more at the pump when you switch to an Andy Moore Ford EV. Say hello to more rebates with federal and state incentives. You could save more. How's over $7,500 sound to you? But the benefits don't end there. Purchasing an EV with Andy Moore means you can take advantage of excellent services like more to your door, more peace of mind with over a decade of experience in selling and servicing electric vehicles. Andy Moore Ford's EV experts are here to answer all of your questions from sales to service, parts to maintenance. Check out Andy Moore Ford. Find them in Plainfield at 2713 East Main Street, 2713 East Main Street. Andy Moore Ford. Andy Moore, M-O-H-R. AndyMooreFord.com. That's AndyMooreFord.com.
This is an important notice to consumers facing $10,000 or more in credit card debt, medical bills, or other unsecured debt. You may not be required to pay it all back because there are special programs now in effect that will significantly reduce the amount you will owe if you qualify. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. These programs, which the credit card companies like to keep secret, exist to aid American consumers struggling with overwhelming credit card debt by offering tremendous savings and real debt relief. Accredited Debt Relief has established a special hotline for you to call and learn what savings you qualify for. They've helped qualify consumers with over $1 billion in debt and are A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. So don't wait. Get the relief you need during these hard economic times. For this free information, call the Accredited Debt Relief Hotline now. Call 800-593-4411. 800-593-4411. 800-593-4411.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
The rain helped some. Cloudy and 69 degrees in downtown Indianapolis. Your radar is clear. Low temps drop to the mid-50s later. I'm Harrison Silcox. Here's what's trending at 3:31. Indiana is still in a moderate drought.
The good news is we did have a decent amount of rain for a good portion of the area, so it's helped some, but it's probably not completely alleviated the drought conditions.
National Weather Service forecaster Randy Bowers. Much of central and northern Indiana is experiencing a moderate drought. The next chance for rain is next week. Republicans would be fine with government shutting down, says Democrat and House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries.
Your objective, apparently, as extreme MAGA Republicans, is to shut the government down.
House Speaker Kevin McCarthy is asking his GOP colleagues to approve a short-term funding bill to keep the government running. That bill would cut federal spending for several agencies and strengthen border security. Democrats say that plan is too conservative to get everyone's approval. At the second GOP presidential debate last night, your former governor shared part of his plans if he were to be elected president.
We're going to stand up for the rights of parents, and we're going to pass a federal ban on transgender chemical or surgical surgery anywhere in the country. We've got to protect our kids.
Mike Pence called himself the most experienced and qualified conservative in the race for the Republican nomination. Indiana is moving thousands of inmates to a new prison. Ryan Hedrick reports.
The new jail in Westville will save taxpayers hundreds of millions of dollars.
Site work has begun. The design is about 95% complete. Sewer and water systems are being brought in.
Department of Correction Commissioner Christina Regal says the new jail will house about 4,200 people. Ryan Hedrick, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
A new smartphone app from the Greenfield Police Department lets you tell them about a crime without showing your identity.
It's removing that person from the equation and still being able to provide us information that we need to solve some of these crimes.
Greenfield Deputy Police Chief Chuck McMichael says that you can download the Greenfield PD app on your phone. You can even speak with a police officer after you send in a tip while remaining anonymous. You're 1 minute away from traffic and weather. It's 3:33.
It's time to get in the tailgating spirit, Indiana. Take a little trip this football season in a Hubler quality pre-owned vehicle. Every Hubler Q-certified vehicle is covered by a 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty. Shop any of Hubler's 12 locations or visit drivehubler.com and choose from over 1,000 vehicles. Chevy, Ford, GMC, Buick, Nissan, Acura, Mazda, Honda, and many more. All makes, all models, certified vehicles, luxury vehicles, even the hard-to-find ones. Plus, every Hubler Q-certified vehicle includes a 128-point vehicle inspection and a free Carfax history report. Get in the tailgating spirit, Indiana, because Hubler's got you covered this football season for 100,000 miles. So what drives Indiana? DriveHubler.com. For over 1,000 vehicles, visit any of our 12 locations. Warranty on select models less than 9 years old.
The traffic at 3:34. Here's Matt Bear.
All right, Harrison, looking at crashes on the west side, 38th at Muller, 10th at High School Road. It's a stalled Hancock County westbound at 70, several miles after State Road 9, County Road 400 West for the local people. Left lane is blocked. Traffic stopped almost to State Road 9. It's a miserable delay, putting us on US 40. Again, eastbound as 70 slows. It's the same area, Mount Comfort Road for several miles because of an earlier crash. That was a rolled semi. It's resting nicely in a cornfield. Traffic sponsored by Drexel Interiors. Go where the pros go. Drexel Interiors for Timberlake Kitchen and Bath Cabinets. Visit Drexel's Design Centers at 146th Street and River Road on North Shadeland. Online at drexelin.com. I'm Matt Bear. Follow us for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
And the forecast from the American Standard Cooling Weather Center.
Moving into Thursday evening, we are going to start cooling off to about 60 degrees overnight, and with skies clearing out, that'll lead our way towards a cool enough morning and wet enough morning for some fog out there in the forecast. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Drew Narsutis for 93 WIBC.
And I'm Harrison Silcox, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
You're listening to the Hammer and Nigel Show.
My name is Nigel. Jason Hammer right over there with a very special guest on the WIBC hotline.
Would we want a fair, down-the-middle opinion on something? The first person we call is Dr. Laura Wilson, Professor.
I believe the word you're looking for is objective.
Objective. Professor of Political Science at the University of Indianapolis. Doctor, how are you?
I'm doing well, and I love that introduction. Thank you for the compliment.
All right, so let's start with whatever that was last night at the Reagan Library, that debate. I think most people know where Nigel and I stand on this now. I thought that was a train wreck, not only from the commentary, but I thought the moderators were bad. I thought the lighting was bad. I thought the audio production was a Mickey Mouse production. The whole thing I thought was rotten, Doctor. I'm curious as to what you think.
Yeah, I don't think it was the best debate we've seen. That might be an understatement. I'm not sure I'm quite as critical there. But I do think there were some obvious blunders and challenges. And first and foremost is the fact that the person who is leading for the likely Republican primary voters, right, Donald Trump as a candidate, was not present. So that was going to make it hard, I think, in the first place. There were several weird twists and turns. If you remember in the first debate, we got that question about aliens. This one had the weird moment about sleeping with the teacher. Those kind of comments there.
Yeah.
I think there was a lack of polish, right? And it's a primary debate. I don't think it necessarily detracted from the points the candidates were trying to make. But it certainly production-wise, I don't think it would be anyone's top favorite. And even in terms of moderation, there are probably a lot of things that, if it was going to be a general election, those would need to be taken care of. That would need to be improved significantly to get that wider audience, certainly.
Did anybody benefit from besides Donald Trump? Did anybody on that stage benefit from what we saw last night in any way, shape, or form in terms of getting their messaging across?
I do think Christie benefited, and in part because I think so. He got to get his jabs in there in terms of at Ramaswamy. He has all these lines against Donald Trump, the Donald Duck line, especially for listeners who are really paying attention when he said, "Oh, you're not going to be here. We're going to say you're ducking the debate." I mean, is it cringy? Yes. But I think for Christie, that's the angle. And because Trump wasn't there and because he got a little bit more playtime with having only 7 candidates on stage, I thought he actually had his best moment. I don't think it's a moment that's going to make it to the primary. I don't think he is going to be the candidate, in my opinion, just from where he is right now. But I thought he was able to capitalize. I think Ramaswamy had another good debate for him. I thought he won the first debate, certainly in terms of time and obviously being the person targeted. And that was similar to maybe a slightly different angle here. DeSantis did better. Haley still did well. I think the problem is any one of them could be better than they had been, and they can improve, but you're talking about single digit for the most part. DeSantis is a little bit higher up, but really small increments in the polling. They're not leading like Donald Trump is. So even hitting it out in a home run victory for that debate is only going to move them reasonably. A couple single points in the poll. It's not going to be a huge wave just yet.
Doctor, you've moderated debates before, so you know what it's like. I thought last night, in addition to the candidates talking over each other, the moderators were talking over and yelling at each other. And Dana Perino, who most of the night, I thought she did a really good job. She was basically the only one that could keep control of this chaos that was going on. But then at the end, that really cringy Survivor-like question, who would you vote off the island? Man, that kind of took away from just, I thought, her having a solid night, but that ending was so bad. What did you think of the moderators?
Well, I think that's a really good point. And I mentioned the Donald Duck comment and then the alien comment in the previous debate. Yes, the Survivor Island question was another cringeworthy moment. I think in general, it's hard to keep track of so many candidates. And I agree. I thought Perino, for the most part, did a fairly good job on that. But you also, the moderator, have to be really careful, and it's very difficult, but you really have to be careful that you are not the focus, that you are not the person talking the whole time. You're giving the candidates the opportunity to have that platform. And that's one of the things where I thought, especially by the end of the night, there are points of candidates getting cut off. And of course, candidates will cut other candidates off. That's the name of the game. It's an election. They're trying to win. But as a moderator, you're supposed to cultivate the environment where you're holding the candidates accountable. You're keeping them on task with the question, right? But then you get out of the way because you are not up for election. You are not trying to win. You are giving them the platform and allowing them to speak to their voting audience.
Should they have made some sort of time for everyone to have a closing statement? Because not everybody got one last night, and I thought that was a very bizarre ending.
I think that was a horrible decision not to do that. And I'm glad that you mentioned that, because part of getting that closing statement as a candidate is that last opportunity, right, to reemphasize whatever your strong points were, your thesis statement, if you will, to wrap up like what you want voters to leave with. And I will say, not knowing that was going to be the kind of the organization going into it, but by the time it was over, I was waiting. And I realized that's not, we weren't going to hear from every single candidate because they didn't have that opportunity. So there's different opinions on opening and closing statements. Yes, they come pre-prepared by the candidate. They know they get it. But to me, that's your pitch to the audience. And it makes it ripe for criticism. I think it's nice to have that. And not having that means some candidates just lost out.
Dr. Laura Wilson here in the Hammer and Nigel show. How do these candidates, how do they prep? It just seems, in terms of the format, adapting to that just frantic, you've got 20 seconds for rebuttal. You've got 30 seconds here. Then you as you mentioned just a minute ago, you're getting cut off by other candidates. You've prepped for debates before. You've given advice. What kind of guidance are these candidates getting?
Well, they prep a whole lot. Part of it is making sure you stick to your message, and and I think this is what's so amazing. Most candidates, especially at this level, are very good. So even if you don't like them, you at least have to give them credit for this. But knowing if you get 20 seconds in your mind, that is a timer, just like on your iPhone, where 19, 18, 17, 16. And granted, of course, the moderator will cut you off once you've hit that 20-second mark anyway. But they also have to think not just their own talking points, but where are they going to be attacked, and where are there opportunities for attack? If you got 7 people on that stage, right, you're prepping your candidate. You're saying, hey, these are our talking points. We know this person's probably going to attack here. So this is your counterattack. We also think that this candidate over here is going to talk about this topic. They're vulnerable here. This is what we're going to say. And even though you don't know the questions in advance and you don't know what everyone's going to say, reasonably we kind of do, right? We have a good sense of what those things are going to look like. So you can do a tremendous amount of preparation. And then my personal favorite is always watching a debate, and you can tell where someone misplaces something because, gosh darn it, their campaign worked on it. It was a line they had prepped. They didn't want to waste it. They wanted to use it. And you just look at it. You're like, oh, no, that was the wrong spot. You didn't get the opportunity you thought, but you just couldn't waste it and let it go. Watching those moments, too, quite frankly, I love, because they're scripted, unscripted. But it's a tremendous amount of work and preparation that goes into making it essentially look effortless, even though there's a lot of effort.
So while that was happening in California, Donald Trump was in Michigan speaking to the UAW auto workers. I mean, there were more folks in that crowd, but that was the whole rationale of that speech, trying to reach out to some of these folks that probably vote Democrat an awful lot if they're union workers. But right now, things aren't going really well. Were you okay with Donald Trump skipping that debate to try to reach some key voters in a swing state?
It's a risk, and I think this one had a lot more at stake, quite frankly, than missing the first debate. That made sense. That felt like a well-thought-through strategy. I think this is risky. I don't think it's not strategy, but to make this decision, you're right. He was going after voters who don't always typically vote Democrat. They don't usually support a Republican candidate. I think this is an opportunity that he sees. And if you remember back in 2016 with the blue wall, that was an opportunity Trump saw that nobody else did, and he was able to take advantage of. So perhaps he's looking at that from that perspective and saying, this is a better place for my time. I do think he's advantaged in that regard, at least trying for it. And quite frankly, he's leading so much in all the polls, right? He's the only one who has anything to lose at these. Everybody else in the debate, it is all out Hail Mary, right? You're pithy points right now. So he's the one that is the front runner and has something to lose by not participating. Now, I do think as we look into future debates and things that we're going to be expecting, he can't wait out forever. I do think he can wait out for quite some time. And I think the statement that he made afterwards, saying that no one on that stage is going to be his running mate, is a really bold power move, but a statement, quite frankly, nobody else but him could make in this position.
And I think it fuels the fires of those Kristi Noem rumors that are out there. Because if you watch the debate, she's running commercials for her state. She's the spokeswoman of her state. A lot of chatter about Kristi Noem.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. And I thought it was amazing when you have that, you talk about a spokesperson for the state. You watch some of those ads and you're like, wait a second, is this what the the state? Are we talking about Dakotas, or are we talking about Governor Newsom herself? I think there's the fact that it leaves it in such ambiguous terms would put a path forward there that we could see in the upcoming months.
Dr. Laura Wilson, professor of political science at the University of Indianapolis. Doctor, we always love it when you come on the show. You give us an objective view down the middle. God bless you for that, and we appreciate your time.
Oh, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
This is the Hammer and Nigel Show.
Hey, Hammer and Nigel here for your Central Indiana American Standard Mitsubishi Electric Elite Ductless Pro Dealer. Absolute comfort. They specialize in Mitsubishi Electric Ductless Mini Splits. They're a diverse system that can be mounted on your wall or flush with the ceiling. They heat and cool at a very effective level, and these systems can be used to heat or cool specific rooms without ductwork, which ends up being a very clean way to heat and cool your home, business, or maybe even your garage.
These high-tech units are how most of the world heats and cools their homes and offices. These Mitsubishi electric ductless systems have advancements that can sense when a person is in a room and can warm or cool that room to that person's wishes. For the ultimate in efficiency and comfort, contact Chris Wedekin at Absolute Comfort to find out more. AbsoluteComfort.org. That's AbsoluteComfort.org. Absolute Comfort is your American Standard Mitsubishi Electric Elite Ductless Pro Dealer. Tell them Hammer and Nigel sent you.
Have you saved enough? Do you have a plan for Social Security and taxes in retirement? Hey, Casey Weed of Howard Bailey Financial, where our mission is to help you gain clarity and purpose and elevate meaning in your life through personal and practical financial strategies. That's why we want to give you our Retire with Purpose Toolkit at no cost. In it, you'll find valuable information on minimizing taxes, maximizing Social Security, and building a retirement income you can't outlive. Plus, you'll receive a copy of my book, Job Optional. To get your complimentary toolkit, call or text the keyword INFO 42 to 866-482-9559. That's INFO 42 to 866-482-9559.
Howard Bailey Financial is the official wealth management partner of Notre Dame Athletics. Notre Dame Athletics was compensated for this endorsement and is not a current client of Howard Bailey. For more information, please visit howardbailey.com/ND disclosure. Investment advisory services may be offered through Howard Bailey Securities LLC, a registered investment advisor. Working with Howard Bailey Securities LLC cannot guarantee investment success or that specific financial goals will be achieved.
Get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned starting at $139 and a free hallway too, and $50 off air duct cleaning with Zero Res. Schedule online at ZeroResIndy.com.
Go where the pros go. Drexel Interiors for Timberlake kitchen and bath cabinets. Visit Drexel's new design center on 146th Street at River Road or on North Shadeland. DrexelIN.com.
I'd rather be folding laundry.
This is gonna be fun.
Said no one ever. Also, no one enjoys wasting time in traffic. That's why we love saving you time. Matt Baird Traffic.
Backups are already starting.
On 93 WIBC.
And now, taking a look at the roads in Indianapolis is the man that has the honors of hosting a night with WIBC presented by Relay Indiana, the very disease-free Matt Baird.
He was waiting on it. It's awesome. Westbound 70. That's how they're going to introduce me. Westbound 70 stopped right now before State Road 9 for several miles, and that is because of a disabled vacuum truck in the left lane of the construction zone. Now, the eastbound side still drags from Mount Comfort Road for a couple of miles because of an earlier crash. A semi is off the interstate, overturned in a cornfield, and cleanup continues. Traffic sponsored by Drexel Interiors. Go where the pros go. Drexel Interiors for Timberlake Kitchen and Bath Cabinets. Visit Drexel's Design Centers at 146th Street and River Road or on North Shadeland. Online at DrexelIN.com. I'm Matt Baird. Follow us for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
So, Matt, when you come out to do your monologue, your opening monologue at next week's Night with WIBC, presented by Relay Indiana, have you thought about which approach are you going to use? Are you going to go full Andrew Dice Clay, with the leather jacket and the cigarettes, swearing at everybody? Or are you going to be like that one guy in Forrest Gump, just firing up the crowd, maybe drop an F-bomb once in a while?
We're going to get everybody on their feet. I know that. It's going to be a party. I can't believe I was asked to do this. It's so cool. It's really cool.
Man, that's awesome. Again, you and Guy Relford, of all the folks that don't have an everyday show here at WIBC, you guys get the biggest crowd pop because people love you.
Well, Guy's an amazing person. Guy does a lot more than I do.
Yes. Yes, he does. I have no comeback to that.
Yeah, it is what it is. What do you
I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. I mean, he does.
Yep.
72 at the American Standard Cooling Weather Center at 93 WIBC.
You're listening to the Hammer and Nigel Show.
I love our guest coming up at 4 o'clock, Hammer. Tudor Dixon, former gubernatorial candidate for Michigan. And she's got her own podcast now. And I was really pulling for her to beat that awful, just Whitmer?
Gretchen Whitmer. Big Gretch.
Whitmer may have been a more
Right.
accurate description. So she's calling in a little bit after 4 o'clock. There's a new survey that found the worst. The survey found that the average person gets 7 gifts a year that they never use. And the worst gift givers are usually friends, kids, and coworkers.
Well, those are the only people that give you gifts, right? Right. The worst gift givers are the homeless guy fondling himself on Monument Circle.
26% of people say they donate unwanted gifts to charity. 18% say they re-gift it to somebody else. Now, the survey produced a list of the worst gifts to receive. And yeah, I believe I agree with some of these, including bad romance novels. You ever been given a bad romance novel?
I've never been given a good one.
A diet plan.
I'm on my own diet plan. I'm doing all right. I'm doing all right.
That would be a disaster. Why would somebody gift you a diet plan? Like, what kind of, like, if I were to give a coworker a gift subscription to Weight Watchers, that would be awful.
Rob Kendall would do that to me. There's no doubt in my mind, Rob Kendall for Christmas this year would give me that gift.
Cufflinks, ties, movies you've already seen, cleaning products.
Now, man, I'd like the cleaning products. It's all right. That's kind of the kind of stuff that I would get as a gift that I don't have to buy.
Okay, so you're telling me this Christmas, if I wrap up a bottle of Windex and give it to you, you're okay with that?
It's better than a bottle of booze you would give to me that I'd put on my shelf that you would end up drinking anyway.
Well, actually, a bottle of booze is on the list of worst things to give.
Who doesn't like a bottle of booze?
Well, I mean, there are people that don't drink, but other than that, also on the list of horrible gifts that people, again, the average person gets 7 gifts a year that they never use. A mouse pad. An apron. I've given my wife a mouse pad before, but it has a picture of our kids on it.
I used to have a gag apron. That's fine. I used to have a gag apron that had a crank hanging off the bottom of it, like it went all the way down to the ground.
Well, I'd be wearing that into work every day if I were you. You should wear that over the night with WIBC.
I used to answer the door, like when the pizza guy would come, I'd have that on. Oh, thanks, man.
What else? Chocolate coins, calendars, mugs, picture frames. Is potpourri still a thing?
I guess.
Allison, I don't know why I'm asking you this. Do you have potpourri products in your house or apartment that makes everything smell fresh?
I can't remember the last time I've seen potpourri.
Yeah.
Have you seen the product called Poopery?
Yeah, I've got Poopery.
That's a great gift.
Now, with Poopery, I'm confused on how to use it. Do you spray it in the toilet before you do the business?
Correct.
Or do you do it, okay, so
before. To mask the smell.
I've been doing it wrong. I've just been spraying it right on my anus.
Whatever gets there.
Just kind of squatting over a mirror and getting it out. All right.
Okay, I have nothing left to add. That's it.
But, man, some of these things, like, we go back to the cleaning stuff, right? And this is what we're starting to get into with my oldest son, who's living in his own house now. You're going to start getting gifts that, as a kid, you would look at and go, this sucks. But as you get older...
The practicality. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's something you don't have to buy. Like, here's a vacuum cleaner. Now, you might not be excited to get a vacuum cleaner, but this means you don't have to go out and buy one. It's the crap like that. So I'm here for that. Coming up at 4:30, we're going to have a news anchor on from Fox 59. His name is Max Lewis. He's got a story out about how the Marion County Sheriff's Department, you know how they accidentally let that suspected murderer out?
Oops.
That wasn't the only time they let somebody out. There was another situation. 2 people in 8 days accidentally released from the Marion County Sheriff's Department. We'll talk about that and Tudor Dixon next.
You probably know how much money you've saved in your IRA or 401k, but do you know how much you'll owe in taxes on this money in retirement? Because that's the most important number you need to know, right? Otherwise, you don't know how much money you have. It's Terry Stacy. Learn how much money you'll owe in taxes with your IRA and 401k. Just go to SaveTaxesWithBill.com. That's SaveTaxesWithBill.com. Just input a few numbers and you'll instantly see how much money you'll owe in taxes when you retire. Plus, you'll see how much you could potentially save if you take advantage of some simple tax planning strategies right now. It's from my good friend and retirement guy, Bill Demery, right here in Indy. Don't give the government a nickel more in taxes than you have to. Go to SaveTaxesWithBill.com. That's SaveTaxesWithBill.com.
Got the TV hung in my garage. Had the guys over to watch the Colts game, and they hadn't seen my brand new garage floor that Galaxy Concrete put a new coating on. They were blown away. My new Galaxy Concrete garage floor is out of this world. It's 4 times as strong, so easy to clean. Galaxy came out and did it within a day. And the thing is, they don't use epoxy. That's the old stuff the other guys use. What they use for my garage floor, it's better. It's polyurea. That's the new premium standard for coatings. And the manufacturer just upgraded the warranty from 15 years to life. See before and after pictures, GalaxyConcreteCoatings.com, or give them a call, 751-9070.
Did you know you can get your prescriptions for less at your local pharmacy? You can with GoodRx. It's the free app that can save you money on your medications. Just search for your prescription, choose the pharmacy and the price that works best for you, and then show your GoodRx coupon to your pharmacist at the drop-off counter. GoodRx works at over 70,000 pharmacies, including Walmart, Rite Aid, and Walgreens, and it works whether you have insurance or not. It's easy to save. Next time you drop off your prescription, check GoodRx. To start saving today, go to GoodRx.com. GoodRx is not insurance.
Hammer and Nigel here, inviting you to join us as we kick off the weekend every Friday around 5:45 with Beer Sample Friday, brought to you by our friends at Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus.
A lot of schools talk about training the cybersecurity workforce of the future, but do they really deliver? My Computer Career has been supplying the IT workforce with thousands of skilled, certified pros for 15 years. Train with the experts in support, networking, or cybersecurity and start your career in months, not years. Upskill even faster. On campus or live online, qualified students may get financial aid, including the GI Bill. My Computer Career. Accredited, acclaimed, effective. Take the free career evaluation at mycomputercareer.edu.
Hey, Ruthie, a bunch of us are heading out to Monroe Lake today. Any recos for a good drink out by the lake?
Sure. Total Wine & More is practically lakeside headquarters. My personal favorite is an easy-sipping tequila like this new Reposado.
Ooh, I bet that tequila pairs well with my new camping chair.
And you can relax even more knowing this price is the lowest in town.
Wow, that low price leaves other stores in your wake.
With the lowest prices for over 30 years, you'll always find what you love and love what you find. Only at your Total Wine & More in Indianapolis. Drink responsibly. Be 21.
Go where the pros go. Drexel Interiors for Timberlake Kitchen and Bath Cabinets. Visit Drexel's new design center on 146th Street at River Road or on North Shadeland. DrexelIN.com.
Coming up in 2 minutes, how an inmate was accidentally released in Marion County. This week's rain did not solve Indiana's drought problem, and what your former governor had to say during his second debate. All that and more coming up after Fox News Radio from the Peterman Brothers Heating, Plumbing, and Electrical Studios. You're listening to 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 4 o'clock.
The clock is ticking. I'm Matt Napolitano, Fox News. With a government shutdown less than 3 days away, House Speaker Kevin McCarthy is urging Republicans to get a short-term spending bill passed.
Having it be able to come back with a guaranteed vote, no amendments, you vote it up or vote it down. It's the only way we're going to tackle long-term where we're going.
Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries is worried about GOP priorities.
Your objective, apparently, as extreme MAGA Republicans, is to shut the government down. That's their objective.
This as the House Oversight Committee held its first hearing into an impeachment inquiry of President Biden, seeking to show he's linked to some of his son Hunter's international business dealings.
Democrats are sticking by President Biden, arguing that while Hunter Biden certainly has a mountain of legal problems and questionable business dealings, it doesn't tie into the president directly.
Fox's David Spunt. Congress today also questioning Hawaii energy officials over the deadly Maui wildfires.
Hawaiian Electric President and CEO Shelly Kiyomura vowing to gather more details about what happened on August 8th when wildfires ignited in Lahaina.
We are absolutely re-examining our protocols.
Acknowledging to a House Energy and Commerce subcommittee looking into whether the electrical grid was properly maintained. Downed power lines caused an initial blaze that was put out, and lines were de-energized for hours before another in the area ignited.
Fox's Kristen Goodwin. President Biden in Arizona warning of the threats against democracy.
Democracy is not a partisan issue. It's an American issue. I've come to honor the McCain Institute and Library because they are a home of a proud Republican who put his country first.
The president mentioning his friend, the late Senator John McCain. On Wall Street, the Dow finishing up 106 points, while the S&P managed to climb 22 and the NASDAQ up 112. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
How he was let out, 71 degrees, mostly cloudy in the circle. Your radar is clear. Low temperatures drop to the mid-50s later. I'm Harrison Silcox. Here's what's trending at 4:02. Gallery numbers led to the accidental release of an inmate from the Marion County Jail this month. John Herrick explains.
When a person's booked into that jail, the sheriff's office assigns them a gallery number, which they're supposed to have forever, no matter how many times they're arrested. There were two separate cases for Toriano Helms, and he was assigned two different gallery numbers. When his drug case was dismissed, Helms was released when he shouldn't have been. He was let out September 5th and caught on Tuesday. Murder suspect Kevin Mason was accidentally set free on September 13th by the Marion County Sheriff's Office and then caught in Minnesota on Wednesday. John Herrick, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
Despite the rain this week, Indiana is still in a moderate drought.
The good news is we did have a decent amount of rain for a good portion of the area, so it's helped some, but it's probably not completely alleviated the drought conditions.
Forecaster Randy Bowers. The next chance for rain, not until sometime next week. Reporting a crime to the police is not always easy, says Greenfield Deputy Police Chief Chuck McMichael.
So a lot of people we find historically are, skeptical about providing information on a family member or a neighbor because of the possibility that somebody's going to find out who's provided that tip.
Which is why his department made the Greenfield PD app, which allows you to report a crime anonymously and even speak to an officer on it while keeping your identity hidden. Mike Pence says the current White House has made U.S. energy dependent on other countries, contrary to what he and former President Donald Trump accomplished.
We achieved energy independence. We became a net exporter of energy for the first time in 75 years.
At the second GOP primary debate last night, Pence said he would open up federal lands for drilling. And the subject of transgender kids in the U.S., he proposed an all-out ban on transgender surgeries and hormone therapy for kids. You're 1 minute away from traffic and weather. It's 4:04.
Are you tired of paying these insane rates on your credit cards and other loans? You can cut those payments by hundreds of dollars a month by using the equity in your home. What's up? It's Hammer here from the Hammer and Nigel Show. Loan Pronto is here, and they can help you tap that equity and get tens of thousands of dollars in less than a week. Their Equity Express line of credit can get you enough money to pay off all those ridiculous high-interest credit cards or maybe that car loan. You won't lose your 3% mortgage rate. It stays intact. You can access up to 90% of your home's value, and in most cases, there's no appraisal. Stop paying ridiculous interest rates on those credit cards and get tens or even hundreds of thousands in cash in as little as 5 days. Call Loan Pronto today. 317-953-6525. 953-6525. 953-6525. LoanPronto.com. Equal Housing Lender. NMLS 1661781. Subject to lender approval.
The traffic in the 5s at 4:05. What's going on, Matt Bear?
Harrison, serious crash on the south side of Stomp 11 Road near Crossing Drive. This is going to be Stomp 11 Road west of McFarland. Two vehicles, T-bone crash, no entrapment. We're happy about that. Eastbound 70, stop traffic coming into downtown well before Holt Road until after Tibbs Avenue. Eastbound 70 slows again from Harding Street to Meridian, Illinois. Southbound 65, stop and go traffic, MLK to Meridian Penn. And westbound 70, a stalled truck still causing stop traffic before State Road 9 for several miles. I would use US 40 instead. Traffic sponsored by Comcast Business. Start saving with Comcast Business Mobile on the most reliable 5G network. Most reliable based on Root Metrics US report results vary, not an endorsement. I'm Matt Bear. Follow us for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
And the forecast from the American Standard Cooling Weather Center.
Moving into Thursday evening, we are going to start cooling off to about 60 degrees overnight, and with skies clearing out, that'll lead our way towards a cool enough morning and wet enough morning for some fog out there in the forecast. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Drew Narsutis for 93 WIBC.
And I'm Harrison Silcox, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Hammer and Nigel.
Can you believe these characters are weirdos?
So let's rock it!
My name is Nigel. Jason Hammer sitting right over there with a very special guest on the 93 WIBC hotline.
Tudor Dixon was the gubernatorial candidate in the state of Michigan and now host of the Tudor Dixon podcast. Tudor, welcome to the Hammer and Nigel show in Indy. How are you?
Great. Thank you for having me.
So last night, Donald Trump, he's basically in your backyard in the state of Michigan. He chose to not participate in that train wreck of a debate, but he was in Detroit trying to win over some of these disgruntled auto workers. Was that the right move?
I was wondering what his approach would be to this, because his approach in 2016 was, we're going to keep the automakers here. They're not going to go to Mexico. But he had a very interesting take on it. He got these, and there were a lot of people there, union workers, non-union workers, and he said, look, whatever is happening right now in negotiations, this could really be irrelevant if Joe Biden gets his way, because once they shut down gas-powered vehicle manufacturing, there are not going to be the jobs out there for electric vehicle. We just don't need the same amount of people. You don't need the same parts. You're going to shut down a lot of these non-union shops. You're going to shut down the union shops. These arguments are very valid, that we're talking about wages for today, but in 2 years, are there going to be jobs there? It's a valid point.
Yeah, I found it funny that Biden was in your state at the picket lines, pretending to care about.
I must have blinked.
Yeah, yeah. I'm sorry. Let me add the caveat. He was there for 12 minutes before he hopped on a plane to hobnob with celebrities in California. But he, pretending to care about gas-powered automotive factory workers when he ran on a campaign. Biden ran his campaign promising to destroy these people's jobs, the gas-powered automotive industry. And I just think that it's hypocritically pathetic and hilarious all at the same time.
Well, what does it mean for the guy who is leading the charge, the Sean Fain? Because he stood next to him, he got pictures with him, and Trump said, I would ask Sean Fain to say to Joe Biden, why are you doing this to my members? And I think that's a really important question for the union right now, to come out and say, hey, wait a minute, you are mandating something that, first of all, consumers do not want, and secondly, you are killing an industry that is critical to multiple states, but to Michigan, incredibly critical. And to his workers in Michigan, we're talking about not only the union workers, and I know that his concentration is the union, but once you shut this down, you're shutting down factories across the state. And so I think it's a valid point. Why would you stand next to the guy who is there with the knife in your back?
And when you look at our state here of Indiana, I believe we're number 2 in automobile manufacturing behind your state, Tudor, in Michigan. Take us through what the electorate is like in Michigan, because I know these UAW union member auto workers, it's been beat into their head, you have to vote blue. You got to vote Democrat. Bam, bam, bam. But when you look at what's going on right now, they're out of work. Everything costs more money. Can these folks be won over by Donald Trump?
look, they were won over by him in 2016. I think 2020 was a little different because, there was a lot going on that they got different types of voters out. They got voters out for different issues. But I think in the heart of the people, the union workers, but the shop workers in general, those folks mainly still support Donald Trump or Republicans in general, because when I was running, I had a lot of these people that pull me aside, and it's like almost they have to whisper it, because they are part of this union that does demand loyalty to the causes that they choose. And as we see now, they haven't planted their flag with either candidate, but they have historically felt like they've had to be pulled a certain way. But Donald Trump changed that because they saw the writing on the wall, and they said, hey, we want to keep our industry here. In Michigan, we've been hurt. We've seen a lot of factories close. We've seen a lot of these. We saw factories going to Mexico, and we saw that wave. We saw the bailout, and we saw that wave of suppliers that closed. So the working folks are really looking at this and saying, well, let me really consider, are the Democrats looking out for us right now when we in Michigan have some of the highest energy costs? Gretchen Whitmer wants to shut down our pipeline in Michigan. That's actively in the works right now. And now we're talking about changing over to EVs, which will shut down many more jobs.
The thing that bothers me the most, and we're speaking with Tudor Dixon here on the Hammer and Nigel show, is, Tudor, you see what happens in this country. Take a state like Pennsylvania, for example. They put a vegetable in the U.S. Senate. They put John Fetterman in a position to be one of the 100 most powerful people, even though he came out and said, yeah, I'm totally against fracking. I look at your state and I see a president of the United States saying he wants to put all of these people out of work, but for whatever reason, I got this bad feeling they're going to go in there on election day and vote to end their own jobs. How did we get to this point?
Well, quite honestly, I think it's because Republicans have not been active enough at messaging and informing and educating the public. We have a few friendly radio stations. We have a few friendly television networks, and we think that's enough. But the Democrats are getting to you every which way they can. They're getting to your streaming video. They're getting through your cell phones. They're pretending Republicans are something that they're not, so that they don't have to run on anything. So you're not questioning what they're doing. You're just going to go out there and vote against this bad guy that they've created. And that's what we've seen in races across the country. Republicans have to start doing that, getting to people directly through their phones, telling them the truth, educating them, because people aren't watching cable news anymore. They're not watching to the extent that the entire country is on social media, is on streaming television. And so we have to go out there and show them who these people really are, because I'm telling you, the average person does not know Joe Biden's dedication to getting rid of gas-powered vehicles. And the average person didn't know Gretchen Whitmer's. But if you look at her new climate plan, it will destroy manufacturing in the state of Michigan. There is no question about it. But people simply don't know, because we are doing a poor job at educating them.
You mentioned getting the message out, Tudor, and I want to ask you about your own personal experiences with public debates and performing and prepping. But do you think that GOP primary debate last night helped anybody or helped people make any decision? I think it was kind of a debacle last night. I'm wondering your take on what you saw last night in that debate in California.
We keep thinking that we're going to see somebody that's just going to stand out, but you're in a group of 7 people. It's a lot. There's a few times when you can talk. There's people talking over one another just to try to get a word in, to have a moment. I don't think we actually had a moment last night. We haven't been able to dig deeply into what people would do. So, no, these Republican debates are kind of like a litmus test. Where do you stand on the conservative issues? I mean, it was like that in Michigan, too.
Yeah.
And in some cases, it can drag you to an area you don't want to be in. And it's really not. It's not. I mean, this is why Donald Trump's not going to them. He doesn't want to be dragged to an area, and he's not trying to stand out. So you have to say, okay, well, maybe politically that's an intelligent way to be.
Yeah, Tudor, I mean, you're no stranger to public debates. I remember, a year ago you faced off against 3 dudes who were all vicious to you during that Michigan GOP gubernatorial primary. And then, of course, the wholly unlikable Gretchen Whitmer. And I'm just wondering what you think of the actual debate format. I know they all vary from debate to debate, but what do you think of the debates? And is it constructive and conducive to being able to get your message across?
I think it's really good for someone who is unknown to be able to get out there and to be seen and to be able to get their message out. I certainly don't think that it is the answer to winning an actual election, but I do think it shows people that you know your stuff, you can talk about it, you're not going to panic under pressure, you're able to talk. And, you know, it's interesting when you go into these things. I heard somebody say yesterday, a debate, there's not really winning a debate. It's trying not to destroy yourself in a debate. And so there's a test, but it's the only time when the public gets to hear somebody ask you a question and you have to be put up against a backdrop with your opponent and you can clearly see if there's a difference or how that person reacts. So the debate process is good, but how many do you have to have? I mean, at a certain point, we've got to whittle down this field. We can't. It's really hard to go out and, you know, at a point we had 12 people in the gubernatorial race in Michigan. It's too many. At that point, a debate is pointless.
I just think, just one more question before I let you go. We're speaking with Tudor Dixon, who was a gubernatorial candidate in Michigan. I mean, your governor is wholly unlikable. I mean, one of the worst.
That's about the nicest way we've ever referred to her on this program.
She had some of the
way.
most just draconian lockdown. I mean, worse in your state than other states here in the Midwest. And now there's talk if Joe Biden doesn't run, it's going to be Gretchen Whitmer.
Whitmer, Gavin Newsom, they're all in the same conversation.
What do you think about this notion? Do you think Joe Biden's going to make it to 2024? And if not, who's it going to be for the Democrats?
I think Newsom is definitely positioning himself to be, I mean, he's at the debate last night. He's now debating Ron DeSantis. I don't think Gretchen Whitmer has it in her. I was told she was going to be this masterful debater, and afterward people were like, okay, now we know why she pushed it off to the third week in October. So I don't think that she has what it takes to go into that national scene. I think that we would have Kamala 2.0, and it would be she just wouldn't get very far. I don't think outside of Michigan she's going to have a lot of appeal. Gavin Newsom is slick. There is something about that guy where he can get out of tight spots and he can manipulate with words and he can charm people. And he terrifies me from that standpoint because his state is a wreck, but people listen to him talk and they're like, wow, I mean, maybe he's not that bad. What are you talking about? So I think that if we should be worried about somebody, tripping Joe Biden as he walks by, it'll be Gavin Newsom.
Tell me about the Tudor Dixon podcast. Like, do you have the green light to say a bunch of stuff that we can't say here on the regular radio? Can you just go unfiltered on that bad boy?
I mean, I think we have, yes, definitely done that. It's fairly tame. We talk about a lot of issues that affect parents, a lot of talk about how social media impacts kids, food, and all of those things. Obviously, I have kids, so those are my concerns. But we talk policy, too. We talk about these factories that are coming into Michigan straight from China and the impact of that. And nobody's really talking about that. So we dive deep into those issues. And sometimes we have fun and sometimes we just get really serious.
Your state is so beautiful. It's run by a complete lunatic, I think. But I visited Lake Michigan for the first time in my life over the summer. St. Joseph. You ever been to St. Joseph, Tudor?
Yeah.
It's just incredible.
A little bit down from me.
Yeah. What's that?
It's just a little bit south of me.
Yeah, it's like 3 hours north of us here in Indy. So I would recommend anybody, if you're thinking about going on a little vacation, a little 3-day road trip, going to St. Joseph. Hey, Tudor, thank you so much for calling the show. Make sure to check out the Tudor Dixon podcast, and we'd love to have you back on sometime real soon.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Matt Bear's got to look at the roads.
Hammer westbound 70 is trashed before State Road 9 for several miles. I have a delay of 8 miles long, starting well before State Road 9 in Greenfield, starting from, in fact, the Greenfield rest area and stretching that 8 miles. I definitely would use US 40 instead. Eastbound 70 Hancock County stop-and-go traffic from Mount Comfort Road for a couple of miles because of an earlier rolled semi that they're still working on. Inbound 65 stop-and-go 29th at 2 Meridian Penn, and eastbound 465 stop-and-go traffic from Westfield Boulevard to Allisonville Road. Traffic sponsored by Speedway. Right now, any large hot coffee at Speedway is only $1.49 with Speedy Rewards. Oh my. The convenience stores of Speedway valid through 1/9/24. Participating U.S. stores. See app for full terms. I'm Matt Bear. Follow us for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
Right now, we are looking at partly cloudy skies. It's 72 at the American Standard Cooling Weather Center. Is this anything? Next.
There's a lot of concerns, a lot of stuff to be worried about when you're selling or buying a home. Maybe you're worried about settling for less money with a lowball instant offer. You don't have to worry about that stuff with Mark Dietl, expert real estate agent, only real estate agent I'd trust to sell my home. How about Ken and Teresa in Indianapolis? Listen to this story. A job transfer had them scrambling to sell the house, and they were worried. They were selling at the wrong time, bad market, but it wasn't the case with Mark Dietl. They got a full price offer in only 1 week with no inspection required.
Mark Dietl is the only real estate expert that we trust and recommend with the sale of our homes. Mark Dietl guarantees your home sold at a mutually agreed upon price and deadline, or he will buy it. Call Mark Dietl today, 317-755-4232, or go to markdietl.com. Mark Dietel, markdietl.com. Tell him Hammer and Nigel sent you.
It's time to get in the tailgating spirit, Indiana. Take a little trip this football season in a Hubler quality pre-owned vehicle. Every Hubler Q-certified vehicle is covered by a 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty. Shop any of Hubler's 12 locations or visit drivehubler.com and choose from over 1,000 vehicles. Chevy, Ford, GMC, Buick, Nissan, Acura, Mazda, Honda, and many more. All makes, all models, certified vehicles, luxury vehicles, even the hard-to-find ones. Plus, every Hubler Q-certified vehicle includes a 128-point vehicle inspection and a free Carfax history report. Get in the tailgating spirit, Indiana, because Hubler's got you covered this football season for 100,000 miles. So what drives Indiana? DriveHubler.com. For over 1,000 vehicles, visit any of our 12 locations. Warranty on select models less than 9 years old.
Than Diamonds Direct, and they're proving it again by rolling back interest rates to 0%. But you need to hurry. Now through Sunday only, you can make any purchase and spread your payments over 5 years with an unheard of interest rate of 0.0%. A $6,000 ring is just $100 a month. But hurry, this radical offer ends Sunday at 5 p.m. Don't miss this once-a-year blockbuster deal. Hurry, 5 years, zero interest financing. Get details and more at DiamondsDirect.com. Diamonds Direct, your love, our passion. Approved credit.
Hi, I'm Joe Wrights, former Colts offensive lineman.
And I'm Jill Wrights. Traumatic brain injury is so sad and so life-changing.
That's why we support a groundbreaking organization building a better future for adults living with a TBI.
Vilici was founded right here in Indiana, but what we are doing will affect families around the country, families struggling to support and lift up their loved one after a life-changing head injury.
Go to braininjury.me, that's braininjury.me.
Did you know you can get your prescriptions for less at your local pharmacy? You can with GoodRx. It's the free app that can save you money on your medications. Just search for your prescription, choose the pharmacy and the price that works best for you, and then show your GoodRx coupon to your pharmacist at the drop-off counter. GoodRx works at over 70,000 pharmacies, including Walmart, Rite Aid, and Walgreens, and it works whether you have insurance or not. It's easy to save. Next time you drop off your prescription, check GoodRx. To start saving today, go to GoodRx.com. GoodRx is not insurance.
Is your Generac home standby generator overdue for annual maintenance or an oil change? Schedule an inspection with a certified tech at Generator Supercenter to ensure your Generac generator is ready when you need it most. GeneratorSupercenter.com.
This hour on 93 WIBC, powered by Family Heating and Air, your American Standard air dealer in Indianapolis.
Hammer and Nigel presents
It depends upon what the meaning of the word is.
Is this anything?
All right, let's rock and roll.
How do we do this, man?
I'll tell you some stories. You tell me if it's anything or not. It's pretty simple. We're going to start with this. There's a beekeeper in Philadelphia, and beekeepers have these shop vacs. They use these to, like, suck up the bees and do their work. Somebody stole the beekeeper's shop vac from his truck. Here is Don, who's got some bad news for the thief.
Whoever it was that grabbed this grabbed a shop vac that was filled with several hundred hornets, and not just the workers, they had a preponderance of queens. I've joked for years that, I don't need to lock my vehicle, and the bees and wasps afford a certain degree of a bit of a safety net. Yeah, this is one where of all the vacuums in all the trucks they could have grabbed, I think they grabbed
Oh, yeah, this is something. This is delicious. I hope those thieves got stung hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times. That guy, first of all, think about it. They stole the guy's shop vac. That's how he makes his living.
Right.
They snuck in the back of his truck and stole tools from this guy that allows him to put dinner on the table for him and his family and his kids and his wife. And yeah, of all the vacuums in Philadelphia, you stole the one that was filled with queen bees and hornets and wasps. I love it.
The worst things imaginable inside this shop vac, basically. Now, we do have an update. The thieves, they spoke to a local Philadelphia TV station after they were arrested. Take a listen.
Oh, no, not the bees! Not the bees! Ah! Oh, my eyes! My eyes!
You got me. You got me with that one.
You knew it was coming.
I didn't know it was coming. No, I thought they talked to the actual thieves. That was a good one.
All right. In all seriousness, this is the interview that the thieves did with that TV station in Philadelphia.
Bees! Bees! Bees everywhere! God, they're here! They're ripping my flesh off! Forget that! I'm starting to swell up!
You got me again!
Their firearms are useless against them!
I gotta learn not to take a sip of my beer. You got me choking on my own spit. That was a good one.
Is this anything? This formerly incarcerated woman has gone viral with a video explaining why prisons do not allow contact lenses.
What?
Here she is describing the downside to having to get glasses in the joint.
If they were in prison for up to a year, they were allowed to apply to get glasses, like from the state. They would go and get an eye exam, which they had to pay for. And they would get these state-issued prison glasses that were the ugliest things I've ever seen. I was serving 5 years, and I hit my dad up, and I was like, please find me some glasses. And he took my prison ID to the place where I got my contacts. He was like, make some frames for this face, and it's me in my mugshot. And they made me some cute glasses.
Dad, take my mugshot over to Lens Crafters. Please have them make me some decent. They probably have these special state issued eyeglasses that don't have like parts that you could turn into a shank or something like
some
that.
sort of weapon or narcotic.
But that's messed up that if the prison guards make you take your contacts out and you just walk around blind. I mean, that's kind of messed up, isn't it? I mean, are
you a contact wearer?
No, I had LASIK. I have readers. Okay. These cheap, $1.50 readers from China I leave everywhere in the house, but I want to know what she did. I think I know who this chick is. She's on TikTok. She did like 5 years for armed robbery, and then she turned herself around and found God, and now she does these TikTok videos about life in prison. 5 years. It's pretty impressive.
Man, what did she do, and where is she at to get locked up like that? Because here in Marion County, right, she'd be out the next day.
Oh, yeah. You can go to Zionsville Eye Care yourself. You rob a store, and then the next day, Ryan Mears lets you out with a GPS monitoring anklet, and you're free to go about your business.
It's the Hammer and Nigel show.
Nobody cares for you like family. Family Heating and Air.
We set out to be the very best of the best, and the past couple years we've actually achieved that. For all of the state of Indiana, we've been awarded the Dealer of the Year award twice now. Unlike other brands, that only gets handed to one dealer every year, and we're very proud to have won that twice.
Put the best to work for you at FamilyHVAC.net. Family Heating and Air is your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
Well, I think the fact that Window Nation has installed over 200,000 windows in the past year, 40 times more than the average window company, says a ton. I'm a Window Nation customer. My neighbors are Window Nation customers. My mom just ordered Window Nation windows for her kitchen, and she got a great deal, 50% off plus pay nothing for 2 full years.
Half off. 50% off all style of windows. Bay, bow, double hung. You name it, whatever style you like, you get 50% off. And if that deal wasn't good enough, on top of that is no money down, no payments, and no interest for 2 years. Listen, I'm going to be honest with you. If you don't take advantage of this deal, there is something wrong with you. Call Window Nation right now, 866-90-NATION, or go to windownation.com. Tell them Hammer and Nigel sent you.
Hey, this is Pastor Micah Beckwith.
And I'm Pastor Nathan Peternell.
And we serve at Life Church, and we got a podcast that we wanted to tell you about called Jesus, Sex, and Politics.
Yeah, you know all those things that the culture doesn't want to talk about that will scare you? Yeah, that's our bread and butter. We love it.
We're going to equip you on how to defend conservative constitutional values based in God's Word in this podcast. So tune in to Jesus, Sex, and Politics.
Wherever you get your podcasts.
Garage Doors of Indianapolis has been a local, family-owned and operated business for nearly 50 years and helps keep Central Indiana's economy strong by employing over 70 families. Garage Doors of Indianapolis stands by their products and services while they share and embrace our conservative values. So when you have garage door problems, call them today for service today. Garage Doors of Indianapolis, 875-4577, 875-4577, or visit doorstoday.com.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
We could use some more rain. Mostly cloudy, 72 degrees on Monument Circle. Nothing on a radar. Low of about 56 tonight. I'm Harrison Silcox. Here's what's trending at 431. Nearly a third of Indiana is dealing with a drought at the moment. The rain we got Tuesday and Wednesday has helped, but that's going to be it for a little while.
Thursday to Friday of next week would be the next weather system that approaches the area. And at this point, it doesn't look like it's going to be a widespread heavy rain.
Forecaster Randy Bauer says drought conditions remain moderate for most of Indiana. Gallery numbers led to the accidental release of an inmate from Marion County this month. John Herrick explains.
When a person's booked into that jail, the sheriff's office assigns them a gallery number, which they're supposed to have forever, no matter how many times they're arrested. There were 2 separate cases for Toriano Helms, and he was assigned 2 different gallery numbers. When his drug case was dismissed, Helms was released when he shouldn't have been. He was let out September 5th and caught on Tuesday. Murder suspect Kevin Mason was accidentally set free on September 13th by the Marion County Sheriff's Office and then caught in Minnesota on Wednesday. John Herrick, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
Congress has until Saturday to find a way to fund the government. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries says Democrats are willing to compromise with Republicans.
From the very beginning of this Congress, House Democrats have made clear that we are willing to find common ground with our Republican colleagues on any issue that would make a difference in the lives of the American people whenever and wherever possible.
House Speaker Kevin McCarthy wants the GOP to approve a short-term funding bill that would decrease federal spending and increase border security. President Joe Biden is in Arizona today to remember late Republican Senator John McCain. He read a farewell letter McCain wrote before he passed.
Here's what John wrote, and I quote, "We are citizens of the world, the world's greatest republic, a nation of ideals, not blood and soil. Americans never quit. They never hide from history. America makes history."
Biden said Senator McCain was right. Your stock report today, the Dow finished up by 116 points to 33,666. The NASDAQ up by 108 to 13,201. The S&P 500 finishing up by 25, closing at 4,299. You're 1 minute away from traffic and weather. It's 4:34.
You probably know how much money you've saved in your IRA or 401k. But do you know how much you'll owe in taxes on this money in retirement? Because that's the most important number you need to know, right? Otherwise, you don't know how much money you have. It's Terry Stacy. Learn how much money you'll owe in taxes with your IRA and 401k. Just go to SaveTaxesWithBill.com. That's SaveTaxesWithBill.com. Just input a few numbers and you'll instantly see how much money you'll owe in taxes when you retire. Plus, you'll see how much you could potentially save if you take advantage of some simple tax planning strategies. strategies right now. It's from my good friend and retirement guy, Bill Demery, right here in Indy. Don't give the government a nickel more in taxes than you have to. Go to SaveTaxesWithBill.com. That's SaveTaxesWithBill.com.
With traffic at 435, how are the roads, Matt Bear?
Really bad in Hancock County, Harrison. Westbound S70 stopped from the Greenfield Rest area for 8.5 miles. And that is almost, well, not close to Mount Comfort Road, but the delay is close to reaching it as far as about 2 miles off right now. Use State Road 9 to get out and join US 40. Inbound 65 stop and go from MLK to Meridian Pettit. Eastbound 70 slow from Harding to Meridian, Illinois. Crash stop 11 Road west of McFarland Road, 2-vehicle T-bone crash. Traffic sponsored by Drexel Interiors. Go where the pros go. Drexel Interiors, Fort Timberlake Kitchen and Bath Cabinets. Visit Drexel's Design Centers at 146th Street and River Road on North at Shadeland, online at drexelin.com. I'm Matt Bear. Follow us for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
And the forecast from the American Standard Cooling Weather Center.
Moving into Thursday evening, we are going to start cooling off to about 60 degrees overnight, and with skies clearing out, that'll lead our way towards a cool enough morning and wet enough morning for some fog out there in the forecast. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Drew Narsutis for 93 WIBC.
And I'm Harrison Silcox, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Crime, punishment, judges, legal stuff.
I'm Nigel Hammers over there with a special guest on the hotline.
Max Lewis is an anchor for Fox 59, and there's a story on their website right now. I believe this is a Fox 59 exclusive. They were the ones that found the information first, that the Marion County Sheriff's Office had another situation where they accidentally released someone.
Whoops.
Max, welcome to the Hammer and Nigel show. Walk me through, what did you guys find?
Hey, guys, thanks for having me. Yeah, so we heard about, obviously, Kevin Mason. He was the guy who was wanted out of Minnesota on these murder warrants that they accidentally let out. Well, after that happened, we got a tip about this other guy. His name is Toriano Helms. Basically what happened is he was arrested last year for assaulting some police officers. He was booked in, he bailed out, and then he got rearrested on some drug charges that weren't related. So basically what happened is, from what we know, is each time you're booked into jail, you're only supposed to be assigned one ID number, a permanent ID number. For some reason, the courts tell us that he was assigned 2 different ID numbers. So when he was sentenced earlier this month on his battery against the police officer's case, as part of a plea deal, his drug charges were dismissed. He was sentenced to 2 years in state prison for the battery on the police officers. But for some reason, the same day he was sentenced, he walked out of the jail, and that's because what we found out is that he was released under the ID number that was associated with his drug case that was dismissed as part of the plea deal.
And Max, this is, I believe, the second time in like an 8-day span we're talking about these types of stories here. When you reached out to the Marion County Sheriff's Office, what was their reaction? What was their response?
Yeah, so this Helms guy, the new guy that we found out, was actually mistakenly released before the guy who was wanted for murder out of Minnesota. We found out that, as you said, it was 8 days apart from each other that these guys were released. The Marion County Sheriff's Office, we sort of were in a back and forth with them for several days on this story. And they originally told us, hey, we released this guy properly. You need to go talk to the court system. And we did. And then, we sort of found out their final statement that they gave us was that, hey, we released this guy properly with the information we had at the time. They're sending this to investigation, having an investigation into how exactly this happened, what needs to change and everything. But they maintain that they released this guy properly with the information they had at the time, which was obviously not correct.
So Max, hey, it's Nigel. Did they get this guy? I mean, they rearrested this guy, right? I mean, but when did they rearrest him? And was it only after you started asking questions, or was it before?
Yeah, it actually was after we started asking questions. Well, you can read into that whether or not, whether that happened because of us or whatever. But
I'm reading into it like the guy would still be out walking around if you hadn't done a great job in journalisming,
Well, thank you. Yeah. So what happened was Marion County Community Corrections actually got involved because they're the ones, nobody even knew this guy was out for about 2 weeks. Nobody even had a clue.
Well, that's not good.
No. Community Corrections got an alert from their system that they have that, hey, this guy was out. They went to the judge, asked for a warrant to rearrest him, and he was rearrested actually on Tuesday. We started asking questions about this Monday morning. So, again, people can read into the timing on that if they want to.
And I'm looking at some of the court documents that you guys have in your article at Fox 59 here. This guy wasn't the murder suspect, right? There was no murder charge here, but it wasn't like this guy was locked up for stealing a candy bar either. I'm looking at some stuff here where he attempted to choke a police officer during the event. There may or may not be a situation where he tried to twist and squeeze the crotch region of an officer, if you will. So this was kind of a violent dude that was out there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was not, as you said, it wasn't a murder charge, but it still wasn't, something just super minor either. These are felony charges that he's facing, resisting arrest, battering a police officer. And as you said, basically what happened was police responded to his house. He was overdosing. They revived him. They realized that he had some warrants out of South Carolina, so he had some other legal issues elsewhere, and they tried to arrest him, and that's when all that happened. And just as you said, they tried to choke him, grabbed the crotch region, and apparently did not some great damage to the officer's area, and then also tried to grab their gun, one of the officer's guns at one point during this incident.
Max Lewis, anchor for Fox 59, man. Last thing before we let you go. Nice work on this story, but I'm just wondering, I've got like an industry question for you. You said you got a tip. So does that mean like a source alerted you to this and then either by phone or text message or email, and that comes in, and then you go to your boss and say, hey, let's check this out. This is a story. And then you start making phone calls. And is that how it kind of works in your profession?
Yeah, absolutely. We got a tip. Our assignment desk did. We have a great assignment desk, and they did some of the legwork on this, sort of getting some of the original court documents. And then we realized what had happened. And then I got involved, and we started trying to get answers from the courts, from community corrections, from the sheriff's office, and we end up with this story and the result.
Well, Max, great job, man. And where can people find more out about this story?
Yeah, just go to fox59.com. It's going to be up there. It says, 2 inmates released from the Marion County Jail in 8 days, and they can read all about it.
Max, just real quick, Hammer and I are opinion guys. I know you have to be objective, but has it occurred to you? It's occurring to me in the back of my mind. Are there other guys out walking around right now because of these same types of mistakes that the Marion County Sheriff's Department has made?
Well, we actually spoke to an attorney for our story last night, and that was one of the questions raised. We know about these two, right? But who's to say that there aren't others? Has this happened before? Yeah. And is the system still not, still broken? And could this happen again? Those are questions that we're going to continue asking them.
We've retweeted the story at Hammer and Nigel. Max Lewis, Fox 59. Max, great job, and thank you for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, I wonder how many, if there are any other situations like this going on right now where there's guys that are, serious felons just out strolling around because of a clerical error, or as I call it, negligence.
And how many times has this happened, but the Marion County Sheriff's Office, they just happened to catch the guy or woman relatively quickly because they tried to do that with the murder suspect. They just weren't able to find him. This time it took a TV station to call around, and then ultimately they made the arrest. How many times has this happened where nobody's known about it? Just the hits keep on coming.
Yeah, there's some problems within that department, I think.
Update on the looting in Philadelphia, since we're doing some legal stuff here. So we played you some audio the other day of people live streaming looting multiple stores.
Yeah, Lululemon.
In Philadelphia, the Apple store, Lululemon, a liquor store, all being looted. And this was the reaction of the chief of police in Philadelphia.
What we had tonight was a bunch of criminal opportunists take advantage of a situation and make an attempt to destroy our city. And so, and again, it's not going to be tolerated. We made arrests and we will continue to make arrests until we have all of the individuals or a number of the individuals that have been responsible for what we've seen tonight in custody. It's disgusting, to be very honest, right? And to see what our city went through in 2020 and to have, some individuals try to recreate that same type of energy tonight is disgusting.
Chief of police in Philadelphia about the riots. Now, one person that had live streamed them self-looting and cheering on other looters was this social media, quote, influencer in Philadelphia, big fat woman named Meatball.
Aptly named.
Right.
Meatball.
It's not some sort of cute nickname. It's appropriate.
She got arrested.
Yeah, she was live streaming as she looted, and she was the idiot yelling, "Everyone must eat."
Everybody must eat. Everybody must eat. Everybody must eat. Everybody must eat. Yes. Everybody must eat. Everybody must eat. Everybody must eat.
Looking at her, she went first. She has now been charged with 6 felonies, Nige. She was charged with burglary, criminal trespassing, conspiracy, criminal mischief, riot with the intent to commit a felony, and criminal use of a communication facility.
Oh, good. So she's incarcerated.
Well, about that. She's already out of jail.
Oh, well, yeah, of course, the Soros-installed prosecutor there in Philly, Krasner, probably had something to do with that.
Posted $25,000 bond, and she is back out on the streets eating and making videos. It's the Hammer and Nigel Show.
This is an important notice to consumers facing $10,000 or more in credit card debt, medical bills, or other unsecured debt. You may not be required to pay it all back because there are special programs now in effect that will significantly reduce the amount you will owe if you qualify. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. These programs, which the credit card companies like to keep secret, exist to aid American consumers struggling with overwhelming credit card debt by offering tremendous savings and real debt relief. Accredited Debt Relief has established a special hotline for you to call and learn what savings you qualify for. They've helped qualify consumers with over $1 billion in debt and are A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. So don't wait. Get the relief you need during these hard economic times. For this free information, call the Accredited Debt Relief Hotline now. Call 800-593-4411. 800-593-4411. 800-593-4411.
It's game time at York Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Plainfield. Score big savings during Jeep Adventure Days and Ram Power Days. Get a new Jeep Compass. Lease it just $299 a month. A new Jeep Grand Cherokee. Lease it just $359 a month. A new Ram 1500. Lease it just $349 a month. Start your next drive at YorkCDJRofPlainfield.com.
We're not number one.
You are.
You're number one at York.
Hey, this is Spencer Thompson at Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus. Save an extra 20% off all in-stock Lazy Boys, Smith Brothers, Bassett, bedroom and dining furniture, lift chairs, sectionals, outdoor furniture, even select Stearns & Foster and Tempur-Pedic mattresses. Even 20% off clearance items. 20% off almost everything now through September 30th. First come, first served only at Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus.
The best way to stop Joe Biden's agenda is to opt out of his inflation game by diversifying your savings into gold. I'm Dr. Ron Paul, and this is why I recommend a gold IRA from Birch Gold Group. To learn more, text the word SHELTER to 989898 to get a free info kit on gold. Birch Gold is the only gold company I trust, so text SHELTER to 989898 right now.
Paid for by Birch Gold Group.
Heating and air conditioning can be the largest investment you make in your home. Here at Family, we pride ourselves in offering many flexible options.
Family Heating and Air is your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
Go where the pros go. Drexel Interiors for Timberlake Kitchen and Bath Cabinets. Visit Drexel's new design center on 146th Street at River Road or on North Shadeland. DrexelIN.com.
There's a lot of sexy content on the internet. And there's WIBC, full of faces meant for radio. Hammer and Nigel, Kendall and Casey. Okay, Casey could be on TV. Now streaming every day on YouTube. Go to youtube.com/WIBC.
Again, I'm just floored that we had to have another public conversation about another inmate accidentally released from the Marion County Sheriff's Department.
But not only that, they wouldn't have even really known about it unless the reporter from Fox 59, Max Lewis, did an incredible job in notifying them and said, hey, you made a mistake here after a tip that came into their office.
So, Matt Bear, that has to make you feel good knowing, if you commit a crime, no one's going to find out. And if you get arrested, hell, you'll be out in the street the next night.
Oh, you can just rob a bank if you want, I guess. It's bizarre.
I mean, if you don't laugh, you'll cry at this point.
And that's exactly what it is. I mean, any crime you commit, you're fine. Don't worry about that. Westbound 70 right now, stop traffic for 8 miles before State Road 9 and not quite to Mount Comfort Road. It's a hell of a delay. It's between 9 and Mount Comfort right now. Use US 40 instead. A stall has broken down and covered I-70 right now. We're looking at southbound 65 stop and go MLK to Meridian Penn. Eastbound 70 slow right now from Tibbs Avenue to Meridian, Illinois in a crash. Lafayette Road north of Moore. Traffic sponsored by Drexel Interiors. Go where the pros go. Drexel Interiors for Timberlake Kitchen and Bath Cabinets. Visit Drexel's Design Centers at 146th Street and River Road or north of Shadeland. Online at DrexelIN.com. I'm Matt Bear. Follow us for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
Coming up here in just about 40 minutes, right around 5:30, Tony Kennett of the Daily Signal will join us. He's up in Detroit. He's talking to the striking auto workers. He also covered Donald Trump's speech there last night. We're going to find out what some of these auto workers that normally vote blue thought about Donald Trump's speech last night in lieu of current events that are happening. So that's coming up at about 5:30.
Now, I think Tony's at 5 and we got Rob at 5:30.
That's right. I drink too much. Rob Kendall's going off the rails at 5:30.
Yes.
So we're going to get the Tonus up here at 5?
Tonus is at 5.
All right, let's do it. We got a lot of stuff coming up, man. We're loaded. 74 at the American Standard Cooling Weather Center at 93 WIBC.
The Hammer and Nigel Show.
Do you suppose we'll meet any wild animals?
Hey, baby, let's go out there like a bunch of crazy dogs and have some fun.
The dingo ate your baby.
And now Hammer and Nigel proudly presents.
Damn, nature, you scary.
Lions.
And tigers. And bears.
Oh, my.
Florida man. Love the story already. A Florida man is recovering after being attacked by a rabid otter.
Oh, no. The rabid otter sounds like the worst wrestler you've ever heard of.
Here is
like the jobber that's already in the ring waiting to get his ass whipped by the Rock.
Rabid otter. Here is Joseph talking about the rabid otter attack.
I normally go out and feed ducks in the back. Ducks, geese, ibis. Looked up, no hawk. Looked back down, and there was a brown head sticking up over the bank of the pond. At first, I didn't know it was an otter, but then I realized that's an otter. My pinky is the worst. 2 puncture wounds. I'm not sure if it goes right through or whatever. One is on the corner of where the cuticle was.
Something tells me Joseph is a transplant. Not originally from Florida. I don't know what gave it away there.
Yeah, that didn't sound like Dade County to me.
The otter bit him on his legs, hands, and arms 41 times.
Good Lord.
Again, if rabies is transmitted and you don't get it looked at or cured, you don't get those series of shots, it's almost 100% fatal for humans.
So here's the real discussion we need to have. This guy got bit 41 times. Do you think you could fight off an otter if your life depended on it?
No. I mean, they're little guys. But
I mean, they could be pretty big.
They're bigger than squirrel. I don't know. I'm looking at pictures of them right now. I don't know how big they are, but they are vicious, and if they're attacking you, like,
could you punt one like Baxter in like Anchorman? Like, could you just grab him and just punt one?
No, Baxter, no! That's how I roll. Yeah, damn nature, you scary for sure.
Damn nature, you scary.
My dad picked up I think I told you this story. My dad and my mom coming home in the 70s from a Zeppelin concert, and he was all on LSD, and they hit a...
Don't just casually gloss over that like that's not an important part of the story.
70s, whatever. And he made my mom stop and pull over. He picked up the possum, and it wasn't dead, and it bit him. And she had to take him to Methodist since she got like 100 shots in his stomach, rabies shots.
Oh,
just in case.
Like, I don't know if it's urban legend or not, but as a kid, the threat of getting the rabies shot, a bunch of these shots right in your belly button. It's a big, long needle. Like, did anybody else hear that when you were growing up?
I think it's multiples of shots like that. Very painful.
Allison, have you ever fought an animal before?
I have not.
Have you ever had to, like, punch a squirrel?
Did you ever watch Old Yeller? Have you seen Old Yeller?
Oh,
in your age?
I hate that movie.
Oh, man.
Do you ever have to fight off an animal or kill an animal?
Got the hydrophobia.
No.
Oh, no. Real quick, according to a new survey, 70% of people have pretended to like a meal that's been made for them to avoid hurting someone's feelings. You don't have to name the meal, but has Mrs. Nige ever made you something and it sucked and you didn't want to hurt her feelings?
No, but I do remember, I got a... How long do we have here?
20 seconds.
20 seconds. My grandma, God rest her soul, she was in decline, but I always loved her pumpkin pie. And I remember towards the end, she made us some pumpkin pie, but she forgot the sugar.
Oh,
and we
no.
all sat there and ate it and pretended we liked it. God, you know what? Maybe that's not the most comical response you wanted, but yes, I have pretended to like something.
You're not a horrible bastard after all.
You probably know how much money you've saved in your IRA or 401k, but do you know how much you'll owe in taxes on this money in retirement? Because that's the most important number you need to know, right? Otherwise, you don't know how much money you have. It's Terry Stacy. Learn how much money you'll owe in taxes with your IRA and 401k. Just go to SaveTaxesWithBill.com. That's SaveTaxesWithBill.com. Just input a few numbers and you'll instantly see how much money you'll owe in taxes when you retire. Plus, you'll see how much you could potentially save if you take advantage of some simple tax planning strategies right now. It's from my good friend and retirement guy, Bill Demery, right here in Indy. Don't give the government a nickel more in taxes than you have to. Go to SaveTaxesWithBill.com. That's SaveTaxesWithBill.com.
Hey, Ruthie, a bunch of us are heading out to Monroe Lake today. Any recos for a good drink out by the lake?
Sure. Total Wine & More is practically lakeside headquarters. My personal favorite is an easy-sipping tequila like this new Reposado.
Ooh, I bet that tequila pairs well with my new camping chair.
And you can relax even more knowing this price is the lowest in town.
Wow, that low price leaves other stores in your wake.
With the lowest prices for over 30 years, you'll always find what you love and love what you find. Only at your Total Wine & More in Indianapolis. Drink responsibly. Be 21.
Nobody brings you more value in fine jewelry than Diamonds Direct, and they're proving it again by rolling back interest rates to 0%. But you need to hurry. Now through Sunday only, you can make any purchase and spread your payments over 5 years with an unheard of interest rate of 0.0%. A $6,000 ring is just $100 a month. But hurry, this radical offer ends Sunday at 5 p.m. Don't miss this once-a-year blockbuster deal. Hurry, 5 years, zero interest financing. Get details and more at DiamondsDirect.com. Diamonds Direct, your love, our passion. On proof credit.
Reggie was a nurse for 16 years.
I had become very burnt out. I wasn't making good money.
Then it happened.
There was an ad for My Computer Career, and it just spoke to me.
My Computer Career was the best decision he ever made.
I could study anywhere from my laptop, and I was working in the first couple weeks of me being in class.
Reggie hit a home run.
The field is teeming with jobs.
Become an IT pro in just months with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu.
The school is amazing.
It's not rocket science. It's mycomputercareer.edu. This is one student's experience. Individual results vary.
Heart failure, carpal tunnel syndrome, shortness of breath, stomach issues, lower back pain. How does it all add up? If you have heart failure and any of those seemingly unrelated symptoms sound familiar, it's time to talk with your cardiologist and get the full picture. They may add up to transthyretin amyloid cardiomyopathy. ATTR-CM is a rare and underdiagnosed disease. Recognize the signs and discuss them with your doctor soon. Learn more at connectwithyourheart.com. That's connectwithyourheart.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Coming up in 2 minutes, John Herrick reports on inmates being accidentally released. Most of Indiana is dealing with a drought. And do you need to contact the police? There's now an app for that. So all that and more coming up after Fox News Radio from the Peterman Brothers Heating, Plumbing, and Electrical Studios. You are listening to 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 5 o'clock.
The first hearing in the books. I'm Matt Napolitano, Fox News. The House Oversight Committee beginning its look into an impeachment inquiry of President Biden over his ties to his son Hunter's business operations. Missouri Republican Congressman Jason Smith.
The Biden family sold access to Joe Biden's power, and the Biden Justice Department protected the Biden brand. We must continue to follow the facts.
But Democrats argue evidence from House Republicans isn't concrete and just speculation.
Because honestly, if they would continue to say if or Hunter and we were playing a drinking game, I would be drunk by now. Because I promise you, they have not talked about the subject of this, which would be the president.
Texas Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett. A climate protester interrupting President Biden's speech in Arizona.
Why have you yet to declare a climate emergency?
Well, I tell you what, if you shush up, I'll meet with you immediately after this, okay?
The president making remarks from the McCain Institute honoring his late friend, Senator John McCain. An appeals court has rejected former President Donald Trump's bid to delay a civil trial in a lawsuit brought by New York Attorney General Letitia James. The case will proceed as planned Monday after a judge ruled that Trump committed years of fraud and had some of his companies stripped away from him as punishment. New Jersey Senator Bob Menendez is ignoring growing calls within his own party ranks to step aside.
Senator Menendez says this legal matter will not keep him from his duties. After the meeting, he said his plan is to continue casting votes for the people of New Jersey. Fellow Democratic Senator Joe Manchin of West Virginia said Menendez indicated he will not resign. Menendez and his wife were indicted on bribery allegations.
Fox's Gernal Scott. On Wall Street, the Dow gaining 116 points, the Nasdaq finishing up 108, and the S&P up 25. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
And how they were let out. 72 degrees, cloudy downtown. Your radar's clear. Low temps tonight. Fall to the mid-50s. I'm Harrison Silcox. Here's what's trending at 5:02. It's happened twice this month. John Herrick reports on the accidental release of 2 people from the Marion County Jail.
A man by the name of Toriano Helms was sentenced to 2 years in prison for attacking police officers on September 5th. Drug charges against him were dismissed as part of a plea deal. He was released on accident because Helms is assigned a gallery number, which is supposed to stay with a person no matter how many times he or she was arrested. Helms was assigned 2 different gallery numbers for his 2 separate cases, which is not supposed to happen, and that led to his release. The other inmate, Kevin Mason, was let out on accident September 13th, but captured in Minnesota on Wednesday. Helms was rearrested on Tuesday. John Herrick, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
Indiana's drought conditions got some help this week.
The good news is we did have a decent amount of rain for a good portion of the area, so it's helped some, but it's probably not completely alleviated the drought conditions.
Forecaster Randy Bowers. The next chance for rain isn't until next week. 2 people were arrested after they were caught with drugs, say Indiana State Police. Jacob Bunch and Amber Eads were pulled over Wednesday, and officers found meth, mushrooms, and marijuana in the car. Bunch and Eads were arrested. They face several charges, most of them having to do with drug possession. A new app from the Greenfield Police Department allows you to tell them about a crime while staying anonymous.
It's removing that person from the equation and still being able to provide us information that we need to solve some of these crimes.
Greenfield Deputy Police Chief Chuck McMichael says you can download the Greenfield PD app on your phone. You can use it to speak with a police officer when you send in a tip, all while keeping your identity hidden. The average price you're paying for a gallon of gas in Indiana today, $3.67, says GasBuddy.com. That's below the national average of $3.81. You're 1 minute away from traffic and weather. It's 5:04.
Greetings from R&R Agency, your Indiana health insurance pros. We recently saved a 50-year-old couple over $300 per month when compared to their old individual plan. We recently saved a family of 4 over $400 per month when compared to their quote on healthcare.gov. We are now entering the crazy enrollment season when our federal government will spend millions telling us that healthcare.gov is our only good option for quality health care. Whether it's called healthcare.gov, Affordable Care Act, or it's still Obamacare, don't let the federal government or their big insurance company cronies tell you that you don't have a choice. Give us a call at 317-563-0868 or go to rragency.org. That's 317-563-0868 or rragency.org. If you don't call us, we can't help you. Quoting the great Dr. Duke Tomato, Lord, please help our cults. And as always, God bless America, or at least what's left of her.
With traffic on the 5s at 5:05, here's Matt Bear.
Hancock County westbound 70 is stopped for 8 miles, beginning at the Greenfield Rest area. A little before that, and then 8 miles after that, I'm using US 40 no matter. Inbound 65 stop and go MLK to Meridian Pad. Eastbound 70 slows to downtown from Belmont to Meridian, Illinois. It's a crash Lafayette Road north of Moore Road. Eastbound 465 stop and go Westfield Boulevard to the White River. Traffic sponsored by Mecum Auctions. Mecum Auctions returns to the Indiana State Fairgrounds October 5th through the 7th with 1,000 muscle cars, classics, Corvettes, trucks, and more. Register to bid at Mecum.com. I'm Matt Bear. Follow us for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
And the forecast from the American Standard Cooling Weather Center.
Moving into Thursday evening, we are going to start cooling off to about 60 degrees overnight, and with skies clearing out, that'll lead our way towards a cool enough morning and wet enough morning for some fog out there in the forecast. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Drew Narsutis for 93 WIBC.
And I'm Harrison Silcox, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Hammer and Nigel.
Can you believe these characters?
They're weirdos.
So let's rock it!
My name is Nigel. Jason Hammer right over there with a special guest on the 93 WIBC hotline.
He is an investigative reporter for the Daily Signal. Coming soon to WIBC, he's going to have a nightly program, Tony Kennett. Now, normally, the Tonus joins us on Wednesdays. We had a chat yesterday, but we wanted to bring you back because you're up in Michigan. You're in Detroit. You've been speaking to the striking auto workers, and you covered Donald Trump's big speech there last night. So let's get into it. What did you hear from Donald Trump in Detroit last night?
What I heard from Trump was that rare form of just incredibly great Trump. I mean, the kind of Trump speech that you hear that really does absolve the sins of about 90% of his gaffes. And I say that as someone that you guys know has been highly critical of Trump, highly critical of some of the actions that he's taken, some of the things that he's said. I covered him in Philadelphia early this year. He made a lot of promises to parents that I thought he couldn't really keep. But his conversations with auto workers and talking about America's auto industry, how we manage trade, how we set up foreign deals, how we protect the auto industry, how we maintain and expand the auto industry, I mean, it was nearly flawless.
Okay, so that's what I wanted to get into, Tony, because normally when you get Donald Trump, he starts talking about how he got screwed in the 2020 election, and he brings up all the stuff from the past, which, okay, I think the base might like that, but it really feels like he's got a chance to win over some potential new voters in Michigan, especially these auto workers who clearly see voting Democrat has gotten them nowhere. Did he stay on brand?
Not only did he stay on brand, he polished it, like with a fine bit of wax and some cloth. I was amazed. And I say that I'm amazed because, as you guys remember, I said all Trump really needs to do, what he really should have done in 2020, but instead what now he's doing, he needs to stay on topic. He needs to talk about the things he did during his presidency that helped Americans. Because what you hear from moderates and people who maybe voted blue except for Trump in the 2016 election was he's a man of the people, he's a man of the worker, and I maybe not liked him. I thought this one lady that was on the picket line said, he's kind of an a-hole, but when he was in the office, I had more money in my pocket and more food on the table, and we were never on strike then. He met with the union leaders within a month of being in office. To me, if he says that kind of stuff like he did last night and he makes that his messaging, hey guys, remember how good it was when I was in office? If he does that, I really do not see how Biden can fight him off. This is the strategy that Trump needs. And so far, again, if he speaks like he did last night, I'm a bit dumbstruck, guys, because it was just such a good speech. And I was right there. Even some of the media that were shoulder to shoulder in this manufacturing facility with me were impressed. I saw a mouth open on this newspaper writer who was expecting, what we'd seen in the last couple of years in a lot of what he said in public. This was the complete opposite. It was like old Trump again.
Yeah, I thought he was very sharp, very concise, very on point, specific statistics concerning energy. Can you drill down just a little bit on what he had to say about the energy industry as it relates to the auto workers?
Well, he made the point, you can't have an auto industry, not a gas-powered auto industry, if you don't have oil. And he talked about that. He talked about refining a little bit. He talked about all of the restrictions that the Biden administration put down on day one. He also talked about, directly relating to the Department of Energy, he talked about releasing several statutory restrictions that basically made industries like GE, Ford, and several other organizations basically restricted those organizations from operating freely. And, corporations like that are going to pass the cost down to the average guy down on the line. And Trump just called that like it was. He's like, you guys are paying the penalty for that. One of the things I liked the most was he was talking about how tariffs functioned, and then also making sure that American cars were basically given preference. He's like, when, Asian car manufacturers, whenever they have Asian cars, they're given preference in their country. He's like, yet here we don't charge, Japanese automakers, Korean automakers, et cetera, anything to sell cars in this country. And I'm a free market economist, but that is a strong selling point to people in the Rust Belt who work on these auto lines. It just is. They were floored by it, and they should be. He is genuinely fighting on their behalf.
Tony Kennett joining us. Tony is an investigative reporter with the Daily Signal. He's up in Detroit. He's speaking to the striking auto workers, and he covered Donald Trump's speech last night. So, Tony, let's be honest, a lot of the union striking auto workers, it's just in their DNA to vote Democrat. It's beat over their head. You are to vote Democrat. You're a union member. This is what we do. Did you get a chance to speak to any of the folks on the picket line or folks that were maybe at that Donald Trump speech last night that normally vote Democrat, might even hate Donald Trump, but are considering voting for Donald Trump because of the situation that they're in currently?
Oh, that's the vast majority of people that I spoke to on the picket line. Wow. Oh, there was one old white guy, kind of had a professory vibe, who wasn't really standing near any of the other picketers that claimed to be a picketer, and told me that he was excited about Biden and he was going to vote for Biden again. Everyone else that we talked to that answered the question, because again, when you're media, not a lot of people want to just tell you everything about their personal convictions. A huge majority are saying, yeah, I'm going to vote for Trump. Even if they vote blue for a lot of local officials, maybe even for Congress, they're voting for him as president because, and again, to make this clear, they basically say the Midwestern phrase of scoreboard. Look at the scoreboard. When this individual was doing what he was doing in office, I had money in my pocket. I had food on the table. Gas was cheap. Cars were coming off the line because people were buying cars like they were hotcakes when Trump was in office because the economy was good. I don't know about you guys, but I'm not really in the market for a Ford Bronco right now. I'd love one.
Sure.
I would love a brand new Ford Bronco. I'm not going to go out and get one. When Trump was in office, though, those kind of things were on the table. And these individuals know that. They're really dissatisfied with union leadership. You have some of these goofballs get on television and say that, Biden's fantastic and that the union stands behind Biden. And the unions on the picket line are like, quit. I guess the union just rejected a 20% raise offer from the auto manufacturers. And a lot of people on the picket line are upset because they're saying a 20% raise. Man, I would have taken that now. Right. And, they can't break line and be a scab.
Did you have a chance to see any of last night's GOP primary debate last night? Because the one thing I took away from that debacle was the winner of that debate was most certainly Donald Trump, and he wasn't even there.
So that's what I told you guys yesterday. Is there anything any of them can say that's going to change things for them? No. It was embarrassing to watch. And you had Nikki Haley making a fool out of herself with Vivek. You had Chris Christie trying to joke with the crowd I think he's just talking to get booed at this point. It's like he's a
heel wrestler at this point.
Really, at least when Norm Macdonald would get booed on Saturday Night Live, he knew what he was doing and it was funny. Chris Christie is just sad. I don't even know some of the other candidates on stage. I heard that Mike Pence was like elevator music, and that's really quite true. And then again, I really like DeSantis, but like, it's really bad to have the president of the United States agree with you on Twitter because DeSantis chose to go after Trump and the trillions that he added to the deficit, which, by the way, that's a fair and valid point. But when Trump is the leading contender for the GOP, that's not how I would have attacked him. And that's just me. I'm no political strategic expert, but I'm really just embarrassed for everyone who showed up to that debate. That was a slaughter.
Last thing here before we let you go, Tony. One of the lines that I actually liked, one of the few lines that I liked last night in that debate was Vivek Ramaswamy saying basically to all the striking auto workers, if you're upset with what's going on, don't pick it in front of your plant. Go pick it in front of Joe Biden's White House because he's the one that wants to put you out of work. Do you get the feeling any of the folks out there on the picket line agree with that sentiment?
Well, it's not really their. I don't. That is said by someone who lives on the coast their entire life. It just is. I grew up in a household where my dad was in the union when he worked in auto places back when Dana was around. That people that say that, they may have like the right spirit, and I do agree. But looking at people that are striking because the rest of the union is striking, because union leadership tells them where to go, and because they're part of the union and they kind of have to do certain things, and saying, well, if you were really serious, you would go strike at the White House. That's not serious. That is a very coastal elitist way to talk down to the working man. And I don't know. I just get that vibe from Vivek. It's that classic used car salesman. He likes to pretend he knows what he's talking about, but I'm pretty sure the man's never gotten his hands dirty, and it shows. And he's not popular among people on the picket line. I can say that. People do not care for him.
Well, yeah, and maybe I phrased that wrong. I'm not asking if the people on the picket line are big Vivek fans. I kind of know the answer to that. But are they upset with Joe Biden right now?
Oh, absolutely. They're extremely upset with him. They thought that him coming to the middle of Michigan was performative. They didn't think that he stands with unions. They don't even think he can stand on his own 2 feet, much less tie his shoes. They abhor him. And this is one of the reasons I said they're upset with union leadership. They are asking that union leadership right now criticize Biden's reactions. They see that the Biden administration got all in for the train strike and went up to Warren Buffett's crew and wheeled and dealed. But when it comes to getting them what they consider would be a more fair deal, they think they're being screwed over because their union bosses are kissing the very butt that is supposed to be a target of their criticism. And so, yeah, they're mad at Biden. I guess what I meant by my Vivek comment is that Vivek's message to those on the picket lines falls really short because I just don't think that Vivek understands how to talk with a man who's been on a factory floor all day.
Follow him on Twitter at The Tonus. Check out his work at The Daily Signal. Tony Kennett, great job covering the strike and Donald Trump. We'll talk to you soon.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys.
Matt Baer has a look at the roads.
All right, Hammer. Hey, if you're in Hancock County, stuck on westbound 70 at 9, you're almost done. That stall did clear. Looking at a crash. We hearing chatter right now about a crash. It's westbound 70 between rural and the north is split. I do see a backup before the north split, stretching back to the rural Keystone exit. Keeping an eye on that. Inbound 65, stop and go. Inbound to Meridian, Penn. Eastbound 70, stop and go. Belmont to Meridian, Illinois. Southbound 65, 70 slows from St. Clair to Washington Street in Lawrence. Northbound 465, stop and go before Penn Pike. Traffic sponsored by Macy's Backstage. What will you find at Macy's Backstage? Here's a hint. Fall finds for $25 and under, like sharp blazers, cozy sweaters, cargo pants, jackets, and more. Find the latest trends and new arrivals at a Macy's Backstage store near you. I'm Matt Baer. Follow us for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
Right now, cloudy skies, 74 at the American Standard Cooling Weather Center at 93 WIBC. Hey, what's up? It's Hammer here from the Hammer and Nigel Show. Do you or somebody you know want to pay off credit cards, but money's a problem right now? Or maybe you're wanting to do some stuff around the house. You need some stuff around the house done, but money's a problem right now. Loan Pronto can help you out. LoanPronto.com. It's an amazing company, and it's a great way to get cash fast. Because, let's be honest, sometimes you need cash fast. With Loan Pronto, you can get $50,000 or $100,000 out right now. As a matter of fact, you can access about 90% of your home's value because your home value is way up, and Loan Pronto can help you access that equity without touching your primary mortgage. And what's great about Loan Pronto is they do all the work. They do all the paperwork. You can supervise, and usually this can happen without an appraisal. Call Loan Pronto today, 953-6525, 953-6525, 953-6525, loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
Fall into savings this week at Family Dollar by using Smart Coupons. And don't forget to click for great deals like these. Save $1 on Swiffer refills or Mr. Clean Magic Eraser Pads. Or keep your clothes looking fresh with Gain Laundry products and make cleanup a breeze with Bounty paper towels and save $2. Finally, stay on budget and save $5 when you spend $20 on Dixie, Sparkle, Angel Soft, or Brawny products. Enjoy the savings this week with Smart Coupons. Family Dollar, helping you do more.
Colorectal cancer rates are on the rise, especially in younger adults. The good news? It's one of the few cancers that can be prevented through screening. So we're keeping up, making some changes, and saving lives. Franciscan Health now offers colonoscopy screenings for adults aged 45 and up. No doctor referral needed. And they're covered at 100% by most insurance plans. Are you 45? Screen sooner. Schedule your colonoscopy at franciscanhealth.org/coloncare.
Did you know you can get your prescriptions for less at your local pharmacy? You can with GoodRx. It's the free app that can save you money on your medications. Just search for your prescription, choose the pharmacy and the price that works best for you, and then show your GoodRx coupon to your pharmacist at the drop-off counter. GoodRx works at over 70,000 pharmacies, including Walmart, Rite Aid, and Walgreens, and it works whether you have insurance or not. It's easy to save. Next time you drop off your prescription, check GoodRx. To start saving today, go to GoodRx.com. GoodRx is not insurance.
Fall in Indy, and if you hate painting year after year, do what your neighbor Edwina did. She called Rhino Shield.
So over the years, I had to touch up the house. I just got to the point where I couldn't spend any more money on the outside of the house. And when I saw Rhino Shield, I thought that was the answer to my problem.
And Rhino Shield's not paint. It's better.
I'd had painters here before, and it was usually quite a disaster with them leaving their equipment here and picking up things in the yard. But Rhino Shield was right on it.
Get the 25-year guaranteed protection of Rhino Shield right now for 15% off the regular price.
The gentleman said, if you're interested, give me a call. And I said, honestly, can you come tomorrow?
Here's owner Shane Smith.
This offer is limited, so call me at 888-RHINO-41. That's 888-RHINO-41.
Don't paint.
Don't vinyl.
Go Rhino.
Don't paint, don't vinyl. Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
It's game time at York Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Plainfield. Score big savings during Jeep Adventure Days and Ram Power Days. Get a new Jeep Compass. Lease it just $299 a month. A new Jeep Grand Cherokee. Lease it just $359 a month. A new Ram 1500. Lease it just $349 a month. Start your next drive at YorkCDJRofPlainfield.com.
We're not number one.
You are.
You're number one at York.
This hour on 93 WIBC, powered by Family Heating and Air, your American Standard air dealer in Indianapolis.
Are you really okay with this?
Are you okay? Everything's gonna be okay.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
I'm pretty far from okay.
Are you okay with this? On the Hammer and Nigel show.
Oh, yeah!
All right, Hammer, the Senate unanimously moving to reverse the Fetterman rule restoring formal dress codes after the a massive blowback. This was a bipartisan effort with Republicans and Democrats. Remind us what the Fetterman rule was, and are you okay with this?
So the Fetterman rule was that John Fetterman is too much of a vegetable to dress up properly for the job that he was elected to. He wanted to wear his hoodie and like pajama pants and baggy basketball shorts into one of the most dignified places in the world, the United States Senate. Or at least when I say dignified, I mean what the founding fathers had envisioned. The United States Senate. 100 of the most powerful people in our country, and you could make the case the world. But it was asking too much for Fetterman to put a shirt and a tie and a jacket and pants on. He wanted to go in there looking like he just got done cutting the grass. So, yes, I am okay with this, but isn't it sad that this is the bar right now? Like, we're all shocked that the Senate has to wear clothes. Like, that's where the bar is right now.
But it also tells you that even the Democrats were like, no, this is unacceptable. Right? This was a bipartisan, unanimous move to reverse those rules.
Right. Fetterman was going into the United States Capitol building in the chamber of the Senate looking like the bum that's picking up cigarette butts at the local gas station.
All right, a new survey just came out that says the average American whips out their cell phone to take 6 pictures a day. Hammer, it also found the average the average American currently has 2,700 photos saved on their phone. Are you okay with this?
Yeah, I'm okay with that, and that sounds about right. Now, I'm a picture snapping machine because that's how I prep for this radio show. If I see something stupid, I will screenshot it.
Send it to yourself.
And send it to myself in my email.
Look at how many photos and videos I have on this phone currently.
Whoa! That's a lot of videos. That's a lot of pics. You must have an amazing storage plan because, good Lord, 8,173 photos, 1,072 videos. My goodness. Do you ever delete anything?
Nothing.
So your old crank pics are probably still on there that you used to send to your better half before you were married.
The late, great Norm Macdonald had an awesome stand-up bit about people that take pictures.
But I can't believe it's been a quarter century since I made my television debut. It was all different back then. You know, it was back then, I remember if you wanted to take a picture, you would use a camera. Not a telephone. As a matter of fact, if you used a telephone, people would look at you odd. What about in the old days when they took pictures of you way back, you know, where they pulled that thing and exploded and stuff? I got a picture of my great-grandfather. The thing took 6 hours to take your picture, and it was a picture of my great-grandfather, one. Every guy had one picture back then. I got to get back, feed them hogs. Who's going to feed the hogs? Somebody got to feed them hogs. Now, in the future, of course, it'll be different. 50 years from now, people will be going like, hey, you want to see 100,000 pictures of my great-grandfather?
Oh, man. Norm Macdonald was so good.
That's totally me right there. 8,000 photos saved on my phone. Where do you want to go here? Do you want to go Britney Spears, or do you want to do the There I Ruined It guy again?
So let's do the There I Ruined It guy again.
Yesterday we played the clip of the YouTube channel There I Ruined It of what the Red Hot Chili Peppers sound like to people who hate the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Come to a leaper with the peppermint bake, the chalupas in the refrigerator.
Just random words.
Just random words. This is kind of what Chili Peppers sound like to people that don't like the Chili Peppers. I could totally, is a great representation of them.
I got a thumbtack on my nuts. California. I got a thumbtack on my nutsack.
Okay.
Now, here is what Pearl Jam sounds like. From the same guy, this is what Pearl Jam sounds like to people who hate Pearl Jam.
Freezing
see a little, gonna baby down my face, looking through the paper, throwing out to something that has never shown him. Man, concrete.
Yeah.
Oh, feeling. Maybe he'll see a little, now to something so that's never shown. Understand the weather of a few through the
To answer the question, yes, I am okay with that. Rob Kendall ready to go off the rails. Coming up right after this look at the news.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
We could have used a bit more rain. 72 degrees, mostly cloudy downtown. All clear on the radar, though. Low of 56 and clear skies expected tonight. I'm Harrison Silcox. Here's what's trending at 5:29. Nearly a third of Indiana's dealing with a drought at the moment. Rain from Tuesday and Wednesday helped, but that's going to be all we get for a while.
Thursday to Friday of next week would be the next weather system that approaches the area. And at this point, it doesn't look like it's going to be a widespread heavy rain.
Forecaster Randy Bauer says drought conditions remain moderate for most of Indiana. Indiana State Police are investigating after an inmate died at the Miami Correctional Facility. Sasha Nixon reports.
Police say 29-year-old Dwayne Pope has died, and they are awaiting autopsy results to learn just how it happened. At this time, they have not provided details on his criminal history or said how he was discovered. Sasha Nixon, 93, WIBC Mobile News.
Former President Donald Trump's New York civil fraud trial will start Monday as scheduled. An appeals court denied Trump's request to delay the trial. Trump, his sons, and the Trump Organization are accused of overvaluing assets as well as the former president's worth. President Biden spoke in Arizona to remember Senator John McCain today. Fox's Gernal Scott reports.
As President Biden remembered his Republican friend, he said in these divided political times, he's reminded
how much America needed John's courage and foresight and vision.
Soon at Arizona State University, a new library will house the late Senator McCain's papers. And also, according to the president,
host dialogue and debate, inspire future leaders around the world.
As the president made his remarks, he was interrupted by a protester.
Why have you yet to declare a climate emergency?
An indicator, as the president said shortly after, that today's politics is not easy. Gernal Scott, Fox News.
Reporting a crime to the police is not always easy, says Greenfield Deputy Police Chief Chuck McMichael.
So a lot of people we find historically are skeptical about providing information on a family member or a neighbor because of the possibility that somebody's going to find out who's provided that tip.
Which is why his department made the Greenfield PD app, which allows you to report a crime anonymously and even speak to an officer on it while keeping your identity hidden. With traffic at 5:31, here's Matt Baer.
Yeah, Harrison, 70 into downtown is just about out of commission. Westbound lanes between Rural and the North Split crash, and 3 left lanes are blocked. I am told multiple semis involved, stopping traffic back to Emerson Avenue and now a little bit beyond. I'm exiting at Shadeland going south and picking up Washington Street to downtown Indianapolis. Downtown eastbound 70 stop and go from Harding Street to Meridian, Illinois. Crash north of downtown is 29th at MLK. Eastbound 465 stop and go from Westfield Boulevard to the White River, and the westbound lane slow out of Meridian to Ditch Road. Traffic sponsored by Drexel Interiors. Go with the pros go. Drexel Interiors for Timberlake Kitchen and Bath Cabinets. Visit Drexel Design Centers at 146th Street and River Road or on North Shadeland. Online at drexelin.com. I'm Matt Baer. Follow us for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
And the forecast from the American Standard Cooling Weather Center.
Moving into Thursday evening, we are going to start cooling off to about 60 degrees overnight, and with skies clearing out, that'll lead our way towards a cool enough morning and wet enough morning for some fog out there in the forecast. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Drew Narsutis for 93 WIBC.
And I'm Harrison Silcox, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore.
And now, Hammer and Nigel go off the rails with Rob Kendall.
Noise pollution.
My name is Nigel. Jason Hammer right over there joining us live in studio to go off the rails. Rob Kendall from the Kendall and Casey Show. How are you, Rob?
I am great. Thanks as always to our segment sponsor, Garage Doors of Indianapolis. Let's start with the question for you guys, though.
whose house am I coming over to at 1:30 in the morning to watch the Ryder Cup with?
Well, I don't even think
you could have said 8:30 at night, and Nigel would already be passed out.
Yeah.
Some people would say asleep, but let's just keep it real. He'd be passed out.
The wife's been gone this week.
I can hear your kids now. Daddy, why is Rob Kendall drunk on Fireball in our garage watching golf?
Okay, I know you and Hammer got into it pretty good about this last week in terms of Donald Trump. Can we all agree now that it's the best thing for Donald Trump not to participate in these debates after whatever it is that we watched last night on Fox?
Oh, yeah, of course. Now, my argument wasn't that it's not best for Trump. I think I agreed with you that it is. I'm saying what was best for the people, at least I thought, was to stand up in front of the people and answer questions. But you got the Republican Party is a joke. I mean, Ronna and the rest of the RNC is
Ronna McDaniel.
Yeah, it's just they're a joke. I mean, that was embarrassing. Those moderators were awful. The contestants were terrible. The
contestants, like it's a game show.
Well, it is. That's what they turned it into. I mean, it's just people inaudibly shouting over each other. This party, and think about if you were an undecided person. Now, I don't know how many people are watching primary debates that are undecided, but you're thinking, man, am I going to switch from I voted for Biden kind of begrudgingly in 2020? Maybe I'm going to go back to the Republicans. And you see that.
Okay, so that's interesting. Let's run with that because I do think there may be some folks. Like, let's look at the auto workers right now. Now, auto workers have had it beat in their head with a tack hammer. You have to vote Democrat. You have to vote Democrat. But maybe somebody's looking around going, you know what? I'm out of work right now. Things cost $700 more per month than they were a year ago. I don't really like Biden. It looks like he's on death's door. I don't like Trump either, though. So let me watch this debate and see if anybody on that stage can make my life as an auto worker better. What do you think that person said after watching it last night?
I think it was an embarrassment. And I think DeSantis... I think DeSantis did the best, but the problem is you got to behave like a belligerent idiot or you end up being like DeSantis and going the first 15 minutes when everyone's watching, and he never spoke. You've got the number one challenger to Trump, and this is totally on the network and those moderators, that you let the number one challenger to Trump, the most prominent guy on stage next to Trump, and he doesn't speak for the first 15 minutes because you didn't ask him a question.
So the question is, who does this benefit then? Who did that benefit
Trump.
last night?
Trump was the huge
Trump.
winner.
Absolutely.
Politically. Now, I stand behind it. It is disturbing that he will not answer questions, but he'll go on NBC. And then he's tweeting out about how awful NBC is after he just went on there. But no doubt, Trump politically was proven right. You go, look at those guys. That was a joke.
Yeah, that was a mess. And I've seen some sloppy debates. I've seen some boring and bad debates. That was just a bad production.
Sure.
Too many people on the stage, too many moderators. The lighting was bad. The audio was bad. The whole thing, like, to quote the great Jim Mora, in my opinion, that sucked.
And Mike Pence, I think he has an air of superiority about it when he's up there.
No way.
Like he's everybody else on that stage is beneath it. That's just the way he came off to me last night.
Well, yes. I mean, you're 100% correct, and you shouldn't just say to you, that's the way he is. I mean, the guy has been a 30-year professional grifter at this point and has avoided successfully, give him credit for that, avoided working a real job like the plague since basically 2000. And he believes he's entitled to, because he's been told for years that he's entitled to whatever office he desires. Now, can we both agree Pence looked like he was dead on stage?
The lighting was bad.
You're right.
Yes. Mike Pence was so white, he made Peyton Manning look black.
I mean, he looked like some guy in a zombie movie who crawled up out of the dirt. I mean, it was ridiculous.
Mike Pence looked like he just saw a pair of boobies that weren't his wife's.
Look, I mean, I don't understand why Burgum is up there. I don't understand why Christie is up there.
Well, that's the thing, right? Like, for the party that claims they hate participation trophies, here they are letting people up there that are polling at like 2%, 3%. Get this thing down to 3. Like, if Donald Trump wants to play ball, fine, make it 4. But really, let's be honest. You just need DeSantis, Ramaswamy, and Nikki Haley at this point.
You're 100% correct. I had thought when it started Tim Scott was going to catch fire. It hasn't happened. And if you are to October and you are still at 3, 4, 5%, you're donezo, right? Now, it would be one thing if everybody was at 3, 4, 5, but you've got a guy at 50, and you've got DeSantis who's at 15 or whatever that, I know it fluctuates day by day, but roughly 15. You're just so far behind. You've been at it for 5, 6, 7 months. Get off the stage. By the way, you know what they need to do? Because you got to stop these guys from talking. In Canada, they have the Mounties. They're like the version of the police that ride around on the horses.
Right.
They have shock sticks. You may remember there was actually a professional wrestler once called the Mountie.
Yes.
And that was what he would do after the match. He'd beat the guy and then he'd shock him with the shock stick. They need to have a Mountie behind each one of those people. And if you talk when it's not your turn, hit him with the shock stick.
Rob, you have been a political consultant. You've been a politician. Who's advising Mike Pence that his strategy is to be wacky? Like Mike Pence tried to be wacky, funny Mike Pence last night, and it was painful.
We have a name for these people. You may know we call them on our show the Gravy Train Brigade because they have, for the better part of whatever it's been, 25 years now, been living off of Mike Pence's success. He's kept pretty much the same circle of people. And, this is the last stop for the Gravy Train Brigade. And these are the people who have given him Mike Pence was so charismatic at one point, he was able to overcome the stupid advice that he was given by people. But in the modern era of politics, it doesn't work anymore.
But Rob, if you were working for Mike Pence, right, and that's a big name, whether you like him or not, let's say you were the campaign advisor to Mike Pence.
Yeah.
Would you just say what he wanted to hear, or would you tell him something he could actually use and be helpful?
Well, you wouldn't work for him if you didn't tell him what you want to hear. I've told this story before when I worked under him, and you would see these things that needed changed in state government, and you would go to the people who talk directly to Pence, and you'd be telling them. It was almost like, remember in the with the gulags, where people would be in the gulags, and they would write to Stalin and go, if only Stalin knew, he wouldn't tolerate this. He would free me from the gulags. And they would write these letters to Stalin, and Stalin would read them and chuckle because he was the person putting the people in the gulags. I used to go to Pence's people and be like, I can't believe I'm getting stonewalled here. If only Pence knew. If only Pence knew the government was this bad and inefficient, he would do something. And then you realize he put those people in the position because he wanted the government to be bad and inefficient.
Off the rails. There it is. Rob Kendall with us on the Hammer and Nigel show. So let's bring it a little closer to home here. A lot of stuff going on. We got the mayor's race right now. Nigel and I were on the air yesterday, and we're talking about the mayor's race, and we get this text message from you that you got a mailer, in your mailbox from Jefferson Shreve, and even though probably against his will, against his belief, he's running ads asking where Joe Hogsett was, finally getting around to it. He's still mailing out things that are talking about gun control.
Yeah, on our email system here at work, you get an email and it'll ping, and my email just starts pinging, and it's multiple people in Indianapolis sending me these mailers they're getting. So it's new. It's not like, hey, I got this, a month and a half ago, and the guy's learned his lesson. He has sent out a new mailer in which the focal point of the mailer, it is all about the illegal gun grab. It's the raising the age to buy the firearm. It's the banning of the assault weapon. It's the same song and dance that no permitless carry. It's the same song and dance that got him in hot water, whatever that was, a month and a half, 2 months ago. And he's like, blank me, blank you. Here's another $1 million on a mailer telling people I want to confiscate your guns.
I mean, it's so ridiculous. You're finally running commercials that are asking where Joe Hogsett was, because I think that's a big deal. Yeah. But your mailers say, but that's not really what I want to talk about. What I really want to talk about is how I'm going to screw over law-abiding citizens.
Well, and remember at the time, because you're obviously a voter in Marion County, you and I kind of went back and forth on, well, I'm not going to lose my mind yet because maybe it's just a wink and a nod and he doesn't intend to enforce it and it's bad, yes, but I'm not going to blow up yet over it. It is the centerpiece of his campaign, the centerpiece of the supposedly Republican nominee for mayor of Indianapolis. The centerpiece of his campaign is not where was Joe Hogsett during the riots, not going after the crappy job he's done enforcing crime in the city. It is going after law-abiding gun owners, and he's lying. He's just lying to the people of Marion County because he cannot change these laws. He cannot make this happen. He is lying and going after law-abiding citizens.
Stick around for one more break.
Yes, sir.
We're going off the rails. That's Rob Kendall. This is the Hammer and Nigel Show.
Lots to be worried about when you're a homeowner. I got a driveway that's falling apart right now. What I'm not worried about is my American Standard air conditioner that our friends at B&W Plumbing installed for me last summer.
B&W Plumbing, Heating, Cooling and Drains, and Speedway. Ask B&W about their Premier Club. Premier Club members get a visit from a B&W rep in the spring and the fall where they check out all your electrical connections, voltage, amps, AC, furnace, your gas pressure on your gas furnace. They check the airflow, and they leave you with extra filters. So if you want to do it yourself, you can do that. Visit bplusw.com. That's the word B, plusw.com, or just give them a call, 317-243-3581, 243-3581. Tell them Hammer and Nigel sent you. American Standard Heating and Air, built to a higher standard.
It's time to get in the tailgating spirit, Indiana. Take a little trip this football season in a Hubler quality pre-owned vehicle. Every Hubler Q-certified vehicle is covered by a 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty. Shop any of Hubler's 12 locations or visit drivehubler.com and choose from over 1,000 vehicles. Chevy, Ford, GMC, Buick, Nissan, Acura, Mazda, Honda, and many more. All makes, all models, certified vehicles, luxury vehicles, even the hard-to-find ones. Plus, every Hubler Q-certified vehicle includes a 128-point vehicle inspection and a free Carfax history report. Get in the tailgating spirit, Indiana, because Hubler's got you covered this football season for 100,000 miles. So what drives Indiana? DriveHubler.com. For over 1,000 vehicles, visit any of our 12 locations. Warranty on select models less than 9 years old.
You probably know how much money you've saved in your IRA or 401k, but do you know how much you'll owe in taxes on this money in retirement? Because that's the most important number you need to know, right? Otherwise, you don't know how much money you have. It's Terry Stacy. Learn how much money you'll owe in taxes with your IRA and 401k. Just go to SaveTaxesWithBill.com. That's SaveTaxesWithBill.com. Just input a few numbers and you'll instantly see how much money you'll owe in taxes when you retire. Plus, you'll see how much you could potentially save if you take advantage of some simple tax planning strategies right now. It's from my good friend and retirement guy, Bill Demery, right here in Indy. Don't give the government a nickel more in taxes than you have to. Go to SaveTaxesWithBill.com. That's SaveTaxesWithBill.com.
Nobody brings you more value in fine jewelry than Diamonds Direct, and they're proving it again by rolling back interest rates to 0%. But you need to hurry. Now through Sunday only, you can make any purchase and spread your payments over 5 years with an unheard of interest rate of 0.0%. A $6,000 ring is just $100 a month. But hurry, this radical offer ends Sunday at 5 p.m. Don't miss this once-a-year blockbuster deal. Hurry, 5 years, zero interest financing. Get details and more at DiamondsDirect.com. Diamonds Direct, your love, our passion. Approved credit.
Get ready to fall into savings this week at Family Dollar. Stay ahead of the mess and save on cleaning products and more when you clip your smart coupons. Family Dollar, helping you do more.
Are these uncertain times making you nervous? Give Family Heating and Air a call at 317-577-8077.
Family Heating and Air is your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
Hey, we're pretty social people at WIBC. You can find us all over social media. See what we're up to on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, and on YouTube. We're never more than just away. Just search for 93 WIBC.
Matt Baer, he has a look at the roads.
All right, Hammer, westbound 70 is just finished. Right now from Shadeland Avenue to the North Split, 53 minutes. That's our travel time, and it's because of a crash before the North Split. I'm told multiple semis involved and blocking 3 left lanes. Puts us on Washington to get to Indianapolis from the east side, definitely. Inbound 65, stop and go, MLK to Meridian Penn. Eastbound 70, slow to downtown Harding to the South Split. You turn north, and it's tied up to Washington Street. Southbound 465, Lawrence stop and go after Penn Pike to South Shadeland Avenue. Traffic sponsored by Drexel Interiors. Go with pros go. Drexel Interiors for Timberlake Kitchen and Bath Cabinets. Visit Drexel's Design Centers at 146th Street and River Road or on North Shadeland, online at drexelin.com. I'm Matt Baer. Follow us for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
Right now, cloudy skies, 74 at the American Standard Cooling Weather Center at 93 WIBC.
Back going off the rails with Rob Kendall. Was listening to the Kendall and Casey show earlier this morning. You had a pretty good one on Holcomb and the interview he did in the IBJ and how he slept well at night during COVID. All the decisions he's making were just, he was fine with everything. Kind of run us through that. What was that article? And I mean, there's this dumb Twitter picture of Holcomb getting his flu shot and his COVID vaccine shot and saying, I'm protecting myself and I'm protecting others.
Protecting others.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, this is just so unbelievable. I mean, it's totally believable. But so he gets asked by, I guess it was IBJ, hey, do you have any regrets about, putting 1 million people out of work, closing tens of thousands of businesses, calling people a human petri dish? Even if, do you have any regrets? And he goes, oh, no, absolutely not. I slept very, very well at night. And here was what I thought the most interesting thing about this was. And Craig, who's filling in for Tony on the morning show, said this. He claims it was so hard for him because he had different people telling him different things. Well, that's wild and wacky because during those press conferences, which is why he called the people the human petri dish, the science was settled and the lockdowns and the business closures and the mask mandates were all about the science. But now he's trying to claim, it was so hard and I had people, telling me different things and nobody knew. Well, either Eric Holcomb then or Eric Holcomb now is lying because he's totally contradicted himself.
And I know you've been talking about this for a while, and now I totally get it because I'm a Marion County voter here. A message has to be sent to Indiana Republican Party that your base is not going to tolerate the Holcombs and the Jefferson Shreves. We're not going to change our values because you guys can't win elections. And listen, I'm just one vote. Rob, you're just one vote. But if you don't get your act together, I'm not saying I'm voting for the Democrat. I might just not vote. I'll write somebody in.
Yeah, majority of my ballot every year gets left blank because votes are earned. But think about this. If you'd put 1 million people out of work and you'd close tens of thousands of businesses and you can't prove you saved one single solitary life. Eric Holcomb can't prove he saved one single solitary life.
We can prove he put some people out of business.
You can prove people died from suicide and drug addiction and everything else. Wouldn't you say, hey, I did the best I could. There's some areas where I failed. We'd like to do better next time. We got to evaluate this. No, I slept great. Yeah, you're right, a-hole. You did sleep great in your taxpayer-funded house with your 6-figure salary.
What's coming up on your big show tomorrow?
Well, apparently artificial intelligence has drawn Marilyn Monroe at 98 years old, what she'd look like today. You boys want to talk about a buzzkill. Get ready, Bow.
That's what we have to look forward to.
That's what we have to look forward to. Way to crap all over our Friday, Rob. Good God.
Ryder Cup in your house, 1:30. Here I come.
Special thanks to
Garage Doors of Indianapolis.
He's off the rails. It's Rob Kendall. This is the Hammer and Nigel Show.
Have you saved enough? Do you have a plan for Social Security and taxes in retirement? Hey, Casey Weed of Howard Bailey Financial, where our mission is to help you gain clarity and purpose and elevate meaning in your life through personal and practical financial strategies. That's why we want to give you our Retire with Purpose Toolkit at no cost. In it, you'll find valuable information on minimizing taxes, maximizing Social Security, and building a retirement income you can't outlive. Plus, you'll receive a copy of my book, Job Optional. To get your complimentary toolkit, call or text the keyword INFO 42 to 866-482-9559. That's INFO 42 to 866-482-9559.
Howard Bailey Financial is the official wealth management partner of Notre Dame Athletics. Notre Dame Athletics was compensated for this endorsement and is not a current client of Howard Bailey. For more information, please visit howardbailey.com/ND disclosure. Investment advisory services may be offered through Howard Bailey Securities LLC, a registered investment advisor. Working with Howard Bailey Securities LLC cannot guarantee investment success or that specific financial goals will be achieved.
If your wedding anniversary is approaching and you're looking for the kind of value, service, and quality that chain stores just can't provide, that means a visit to Barrington Jewels in Clearwater Clearwater Crossing. You must see the truly one-of-a-kind creations at Barrington. You'll find exquisite and unique anniversary bands at great prices. Save time and effort and shop Barrington Jewels first. Consider upgrading her diamond, a truly special way to show your love. Don't wait. Get to Barrington Jewels today. And remember, you haven't seen a diamond until you've seen a Barrington diamond.
Your fireplace is the heart of your home, warming your family and creating cherished memories. But did you know that your fireplace needs annual maintenance?
At Chimney Solutions, our CSIA certified technicians perform full chimney inspections, checking for gaps and cracks in the liner system. We check for air quality issues in the home, as well as potential fire hazards in the chimney system.
Don't compromise on the safety and well-being of your home. Trust the experts at Chimney Solutions to care for your fireplace and your chimney.
Do you have heart failure and often hear,
"Those stomach issues ruined your birthday"?
"You're too tired to play catch, Grandpa."
Sweetie, you haven't touched your tools since the carpal tunnel syndrome diagnosis.
If these seemingly unrelated symptoms sound familiar, talk to your cardiologist. Ask about transthyretin amyloid cardiomyopathy, or ATTR-CM, a rare and underdiagnosed disease that gets worse over time. Learn more at connecttoyourheart.com. That's connecttoyourheart.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Denny Smith here for Sundown Gardens. The Fall Fun continues at Sundown Gardens this week. Hamilton County llamas will be on site from 11 to 3 on Saturday. Other farm animals for kids to pet and see this Saturday, too. Mums and pumpkins and fall decor at Miss Mary's Gift Shop. And the nursery's fully stocked at Sundown Gardens in Westfield for all your fall planting. Sundown Gardens at 186th Street and Spring Mill Road in Westfield, sundown.gardens.com. And if you live down south, visit Miss M's Home and Garden on State Road 135 in Bargersville.
It's Terry Stacy, and if you are really ready to take charge of your health and well-being in